6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA Western Conference Finals. The Thunder take Game 5 and the 3-2 series lead over the Spurs, winning 127-114 Tuesday night. League MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 32 points to lead the way for the Thunder, who now just one win away from a return trip to the NBA Finals. Game 6 Thursday night in San Antonio. NHL West Conference Finals. In the West, the Golden Knights completed the 4-0 series sweep over the Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals with a 2-1 win last night, and they make their return trip to the Stanley Cup Final where they last won it back in 2023. Former Predator Cole Smith had the game-winning goal in the third period, as Vegas now will await the Eastern Conference winner between the Hurricanes and Canadiens. Game 4 tonight in Montreal. Carolina leads it 2-1 in the series. NFL news yesterday, the Chargers and safety Derwin James agreed to a 3-year, $75.6 million extension yesterday. It makes him the highest paid safety in the league. And in college football news yesterday, the NCAA denied former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's eligibility for the 2026 college football season due to countless sports gambling betting. Texas Tech is planning to appeal that decision. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into your Wednesday morning edition of Ramon and Will on a beautiful morning in Music City, USA. Today we have represented 5 different members of the 2026 on-air broadcast of Titans Radio. Of course, you have Titans Radio analyst Ramon Foster, myself, Will Bowling. At 7:20, Mark Mariani, who you will hear on the sidelines this season on Titans Radio. Brad Hopkins, former Titans tackle, who will also be on the sidelines for Titans Radio. And, of course, the executive producer of Titans Radio at 9 a.m., Rhett Bryan. That is 5. One for each of your fingers. Members of Titans Radio on the show this morning. Didn't really plan it that way, just kind of worked out that way. In planning the morning and planning the week. How lucky are we? 615-737-1045, our number. Streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch on this Wednesday, May 27th. Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
We're good, man. It's hump day. Man, we got an extra one. I mean, we're already close to the weekend in general. We're only working one day. It's good. This morning, walked out the house. It's just like, okay. No rain. We're living better today. And then I walked up the ramp inside of the over here by the studio, and I will say I was waiting for the sun for a second. I was waiting for the sun to come in between the buildings, and I felt like it was going to take too long. I actually love the sunrise in the downtown area, man. Nothing. Well, I'll say this. The countryside, of course, when you see it too, but like in an urban area like downtown Nashville, I absolutely enjoy watching the sunrise, man. Early bird gets the worm, and I tell you what, it's the time of the year, too, where the early birds are right outside of my window at 5 o'clock as well in the morning. So there's no time to really sleep in on the weekends. They are allowed. Speaking of birds, I did not want to go here this morning.
I was going to ask if you're still having your fight with nature.
Lightly.
At your home.
Just lightly. They're messing with my wife's garden right now. So she's growing strawberries in the backyard right now. I told you we're doing this elevated garden stuff. And she's got her peppers. She's got her tomatoes. And right now she's getting fruit from her strawberry patch that she's got in the back. Well, she goes out there, and there are just beak holes all in her strawberries right now. She's got the fake hawk
holes. Okay.
Yes, they're like the beak is just going straight through the middle of the small strawberries. She is livid about this situation, man. That's not the worst bird war we got going on right now. Shout out to my neighbor next door, Shad, man. There's a woodpecker. Going underneath his deck on his patio and pecking the wood beams all up and down his porch. I never knew woodpeckers were this much of menaces around homes. Like, you think like I'm talking about like one portion of his porch. No, it's all the way around his porch right now. He just now noticed it, that like it is creating just chaos on his back patio.
So is it loud, or is there just structural damage now to the porch?
It's structural damage to the porch now. Like, he's got some beams up top right now. You know, everybody do like the suspended beams and stuff. He's probably going to have to replace them if he don't find this thing and shoot it.
I'm not going to lie to you. You could have told me that woodpeckers weren't natural to Middle Tennessee, and I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I didn't know we had woodpeckers.
They
everywhere?
Are. Yeah, they're everywhere. They seriously are. I've heard them. You've heard them too. They make a very distinct sound.
It's hard to just get that confused with regular construction. Being in the downtown area, honestly.
100%. It's about the same thing.
It is construction, just a different kind.
It is
natural construction.
They are loud though, and I'm guessing he's doing it whenever they're not at home. But this thing has got like 4 different sections of his back porch patio just completely obliterated on the wood. I'm not even sure what he's looking for, because a wood panel on a porch usually doesn't have bugs in it. So that's clearly what he's doing. I can see a tree across from the driveway right next to mine that's got a sizable hole in it, I guess, where he's just been digging and pipe. Like, they're huge too.
Wow.
They're not small birds. It's like the red-headed woodpecker, I think is what you call one of them. There's like 2 or 3 of them that's around our area, but it's about 7 inches tall. Like, that thing is pretty significant, man.
According to Google AI, woodpeckers are native to almost every continent on Earth, making their home in forests, woodlands, and even desert environments.
I've got some bad news for your neighbor.
What's up?
They are federally protected.
No.
Are they really?
You have to have a permit in order to capture or kill them. They are by the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act. Yeah, so he's going to have to get a permit in order to fix it.
He asked for my pellet gun. I'm sorry, you can't have my pellet gun.
We're going to have to keep.
It's not going to fly.
Yeah, we got to let. That was good. You snuck that one in real quick.
Far from my best, but also far from my worst.
But I'm here for it, though. They're protected.
Yeah.
They are.
Keep that on the down low.
Keep it on the DL. I got you.
You just said it on the largest, microphone you can possibly find.
Yeah, we did.
It's no longer on the down low.
He won't mess
it's on
with
Ramon Will.
He's smart. Yes, everybody knows at this point. But woodpeckers
just keep pecking away at it.
Are crazy. On top of that, he's had a couple wood bees mess with his wood as well. I got to figure out what type of wood he got, so I don't use it, man. But they are. I've seen how they work too. They go in to find like little bugs inside of the trees and stuff, and that beak is strong. I saw one across the. It was like one Saturday morning. And it was just the loudest thing in our neighborhood, legitimately. You don't want those problems.
We should start a Zone TV exclusive YouTube show of Ramon versus nature. I feel like you're always fighting nature in some capacity at your home.
I would be such in a rush to do it. Like, you have no idea.
I have an idea. We talk about it so much.
I have right now a love for foxes as well, too. One day I was coming home from a game. And in my neighbor's driveway, his is somewhat next to ours, there was just a fox watching me, just chilling in the driveway. Didn't have rabies or nothing like that.
How do you know?
Because it would have had the shakes. I've seen what the rabies look like. Okay. Not in person, but it's just like I pulled up, got out of my vehicle. I looked back, it's like, oh, dang, a fox.
Yeah, and it standoff.
It sat down, looked at me. I looked at it and I said, you a cool animal, man. And whatever you're doing to secure the little rodents away from my house, thank you. That's immediately where my thought process went to. Foxes are so cool. You ever seen one in the wild?
Yeah, of course.
They're so cool.
We used to have woods back up to our home.
Did you?
When I was growing up.
Yeah.
So we'd see all sorts of things. So bobcats, foxes.
I'm telling you.
Coyote. You'd hear the coyotes more so than see them.
I don't know what a coyote sounds like. I've heard people mention it.
Loud puppy howling. Yep.
Is it?
Exactly like that.
Get out of here.
Exactly like that.
I've never actually, I saw one running down my street one day, though.
It's a little haunting.
It is?
A little haunting. Not something you want to hear.
Well, listen to me. In humble Hendersonville, we got a little bit of everything, man. You welcome to come out at any point in time.
Yeah, I need to.
The woodpecker thing, I was not, it wasn't on my radar that they messed up your back porch like that. I've never heard that happening.
Yeah, I didn't either. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, there's your episode of Ramon versus Nature.
Ramon versus Nature again, man. Birds are menaces. I do not like them. We got a cool hawk too, by the way, too. Not that hawk.
Respect.
Well, last night the menaces of the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, take a 3-2 series lead in the Western Conference Finals. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't have his best game in this one either. Called it one of the worst starts of his career. in the pivotal Game 5 of the finals. Had 3 turnovers and missed his first 4 shots from the field, but when he's not guarded at the free throw line, he can always make shots. 32 points, what he ended up with in this one. 9 assists on only 7 of 19 shooting and 6 turnovers. Chet Holmgren with 16 and 11. It was the bench, though, for OKC last night, Ramon, that was on a little bit of a heater, and especially at the end of the first half, through the beginning of the fourth quarter, through kind of the middle part of the fourth quarter as they pulled away late. Jared McCain made the first playoff start of his career as they looked to add more scoring to the lineup with Jalen Williams and Ajay Mitchell both out. 18 of Jared McCain's 20 comes in the second half as the series goes back to San Antonio.
Yeah, good series, man. This is going to be a back and forth. I honestly think this is going to have to end up being a Game 7. There will be a response from San Antonio, especially if they're going back to San Antonio with this one as well. It just makes sense. Yesterday, I thought or last night, I thought the Thunder got to Wemby quick, didn't allow him to operate around the rim. And then on top of that, as you said, too, they just couldn't miss Oklahoma. Anytime they got close, the Spurs, they just found ways to score and score again. I felt like that was problematic earlier for Stephon Castle as far as his ability to score with them. They didn't get a whole lot out of Devin Vassell in general either. But affecting Wemby was it. And Caruso, again, the way he and the way SGA ended up shooting, like Shea said he didn't have his best game, SGA, but legitimately, anytime they needed a bucket, they got it. To your point, it was either the free throw line or he pull up in the right around the free throw line in general inside the three-point line. Like, he just found ways to continue to score, and it just wasn't enough for the Spurs. The way they whooped them the last game, the Spurs, this was going to be the response. This, to me, is 2 Titans that are going back and forth, and it's just going to be this way to the end. De'Aaron Fox still dealing with the ankles. You see him in the time that he's out there, too. Just when you're playing a team that's won a world championship the way OKC has, and they got the league 2-time MVP on their team, too, nothing's ever above a challenge for them. And that's the way they play ball. It's methodical. They can score at will. As you mentioned, the bench is deep enough. And I think, and I was talking to Savage this weekend, Wemby's probably due one more guy as far as a bully. He mentioned that time and time again. And just in general, getting somebody in free agency to come off the bench to score well for them has got to be a part of the play moving forward. OKC's a juggernaut. But if Wemby's on early, there's not much you can do, and he wasn't last night.
Yeah, Alex Caruso gives you 22 off the bench last night as well. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes 16 of 17 from the free throw line. And as he heard that, I think he just fell down somewhere as he gets up this morning to begin his Wednesday. I don't enjoy watching him. I don't. And I'm not supposed to. His job is not to entertain me in Nashville, Tennessee. His job is to win basketball games, and I respect it. And all the same folks who complain about soccer and flopping around and making the most of contact, a lot of those folks love NBA basketball, and I think it's okay to enjoy both. That being said, I just don't love the amount of time he hits the floor, and I think it gets even more ridiculous from what I've seen this time of year.
He's pretty much doubled everybody else's free throw attempts other than Victor Wembanyama. And here's the thing.
They were 33 of 38 as a team, and he was 16 of 17.
You can understand Wemby's approach to free throws, right? Because you watched the game last night. Like, he's getting hacked. Like, he's getting pushed around. He's getting bullied, which is why Savage said he needs an enforcer.
A goon.
He needs a Draymond. Yeah, he needs a Charles Barkley on his team because he's getting beat to crap. But Shai, SGA, I'm with you. Like, I love how he's mastered this craft. Have you seen the reels of him in the flopping as well? And
honestly, use me as the target audience because I don't watch the NBA and I don't enjoy it because I don't have a rooting interest. I was more inclined to watch this last night to be like, all right, let's go hate watch the Thunder. Let's go see what this is really about. Is it really that bad? Sure enough, it is.
It is.
He does fall down a lot. It is good for the NBA to have a villain team like that everyone wants to rally around and hate. And for years, it was the Golden State Warriors in this generation's era of NBA basketball. That mantle has now shifted to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's going to be a really interesting NBA Finals if it is Oklahoma City and New York, because of the anarchy that the New York fan base brings everywhere that they go, and just the overall hatred for New York sports that so many other big metropolitan cities on the East Coast have.
Hate 'em.
Against the Thunder, who seem to be one of the least liked small market teams in recent memory of American pro sports.
They are. You bring up a good point. I wonder what this series, I'll say two things. I think OKC's got one more year of this pass, meaning free throw city. Maybe. Because if the Spurs go out and assemble themselves this offseason, that shift is going to San Antonio. I hate to make it seem like Wemby's too strong, but like Wemby is on the way. Like, he's there now, but I feel like he's on the way. And with that, to your point, comes favor. Shea, right now, SGA is getting a whole lot of favor. And as a league MVP, you're supposed to. That's the reason we come up with the Jordan rules. That's why you see LeBron so mad right now in games, because he's not getting as much favor as he once was. So that's one point to me, too. If it does end up in OKC versus New York, I wonder how those Shea flops, to your point, I wonder how they're called in Madison Square Garden in New York. That crowd ain't going to have it.
I think we're probably going to find out.
We might have Timothy Chalamet on the court with a whistle himself to say, no, this is mine, if they go to New York with it. Like, that's my point. I think
king.
Timothy
Chalamet.
Okay, shout out to Fat Joe on the sideline. I don't know why him. No.
He is everywhere.
He is everywhere. Have you seen their crew, too, the New York Legends? They've been traveling everywhere with the Knicks now, too.
No, for sure. I see that on social media more than I see videos of the actual games.
Yeah, no doubt. But I don't know if the OKC flop is going to last long in New York. Not with the New York crowd. If they can still win the Knicks in OKC, just because the Knicks have a strong chance of winning it. And I got Knicks fans as friends. They're so unhinged right now.
Yes, they are.
They're bad.
Yes, they are.
They're real bad.
Many
right
of them
now.
have never been hinged to begin with.
No, they have not in 27 years, if I'm not mistaken. But really good series. Last night was OKC all the way. They responded the way you need a championship team to. This next matchup, I think, is going to be hot. There's no way Wemby does this or allows this again. This has to go 7.
Live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. The number, 615-737-1045. And coming up, there is one SEC coach who nailed his comments at SEC spring meetings in Destin yesterday. You'll hear from that coach coming up next. So Greg Sankey says that the SEC spring meetings are overhyped. Based on some comments yesterday from coaches and athletic directors, I think we'll decide, Greg, on what's overhyped or what's correctly hyped. Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone, Ramon Foster and Will Boulding. I thought Mike Elko totally crushed it yesterday when speaking about expanding the college football playoff and his own just bewilderment on, well, why are you asking us? And in comments yesterday to reporters inside the Sandestin Hilton in Miramar Beach for the SEC spring meetings, the Texas A&M head coach talked about the self-preservation versus challenge of doing what's right for the sport conversation in college football playoff expansion.
I don't know why you guys ask us. Like, why do you care what we think? Like, it doesn't matter what we think. I've said this before. I think there's two sides to that conversation. I think there's a good of college football where we better be really careful. I don't know why we're trying to become a trophy sport. I don't understand why that's something that we're trying to do. Then there's self-preservation, right? And so if you really ask me on record, what does Mike Elko want? I want 40, because then I'll make it and then I won't get fired.
But you will if you don't go deep enough if it's 40.
That'll take a few years, and then in a few years we'll readjust, and then I'll want something else. Have you not been around this thing long enough?
Mike Elko, head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies, speaking yesterday. Self-preservation versus what's best for the sport. When he says it's okay for it to be hard to get into the playoff, I about bought Texas A&M gear yesterday, Ramon.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I can't believe he's that open with it, because at this point, what does Sankey have over them to stop them from talking? What does anybody have over these coaches to stop them from telling their truth, though, too?
Fines. But you're not going to get fined for that. That's just giving your opinion.
That. Yeah, for sure. And I get where you're coming from on that one. He should be allowed to say this is what I'm saying and feel this way as well. And I like how brutally honest he was, too. It's like, give me 40. And he told the exact same storyline that I've been pushing, too. It gives him job security. I love the fact that he went even more blunt and more real. And it's like, well, you'll get fired. The guy said...
Andy Staples.
That was Andy that said
like,
that.
Oh, eventually he'll just get fired for making it and not going anywhere. He said, oh, then we'll want more.
And then he said, you know what? I'll just go get another job, basically. Like, you know how this works. I will get hired again, because now he has that attached to his name as a college football playoff coach. The only question I have for him in this conversation is, what do you mean by trying to make this a trophy sport? Like, college football reigns supreme over everything?
No, I think a trophy sport in terms of the postseason mattering more than the regular season.
Well, they killed off the meanings of the importance of bowl games, though. Whether
I think we could go back and forth on that too, though. Like, the bowl games were always a byproduct of college football Saturdays played on campus. I think is the point there. Like, bowl games being killed are a byproduct of the value of football Saturdays being killed. Those happened in the same fail swoop.
For sure. But the way you try to look at, in my opinion, the retention of a roster and how the bowl games used to be paying it up as big as they once were. Money kind of ruined that. The portal ruined it, for sure. The best way to keep a team together, even, I would say longer, not even together for the next year, is to give it an incentive, and that incentive is the college football playoff. So I think it's two-sided on it. It is getting guys to commit to the CFP, and also it gives coaches security. That, to me, is the only benefit of adding more games. You were right in the beginning when you said, like, the quality dies off. It just does. 40 teams, I know Mike Elko is joking a little bit about this, but that's the reality for some coaches when it comes down to their security, or just, hey, that we can have something meaningful to play with. At this point, it's flushing down the toilet the way I look at this situation. Like, okay, there'll be another deposit soon, and we'll flush this out too until you finally get something that's attainable. The sweet spot, and they don't want to say it right now, is 16 games if they were going to go anywhere else. It, to me, is going up to 24 is diluting the product. That I can't understand, even though I get it from a coach's standpoint. It's diluting the product now.
So I think where Mike Elko is right in when did we become a trophy sport is in the prioritization of college football's best moments. and the implication of the biggest and best moments in this sport are played in NFL stadiums in front of really expensive seated stadiums and tickets that are hard to get, far from college campuses, not on college football Saturdays. The essence of this sport, what gets me excited about this sport is when I'm on campus and I'm about to go to a Tennessee game, I'll stop at the Student Center to sit in the theater to watch whatever the 2:30 game is. If there's a night game, there's a theater in the Student Center that's always shown the game of the week leading up to the Tennessee game. It's one of my favorite parts. I did. It's one of my favorite parts of a Tennessee football Saturday. Is not only what I'm watching in the stadium in Neyland, but all right, let's go watch with other Tennessee fans who all have the same rooting interest. One of our rivals play someone else.
I'm there with you.
It's what I've grown up on.
Yeah.
It's college football Saturdays make this sport special. It's throwing a goalpost into the Tennessee River that makes college football special, more so than the end of a season in a sterile NFL stadium. Respectfully, there are a lot of great NFL stadiums out there. They're so different from the environments that we play in on college football Saturdays. So different from when so much of the country is out of it, is not competing anymore, is out of the dance, the competition. Yeah, we'll watch it, but it doesn't feel like college football a lot of the times. That's, I think, Mike Elko's point, is that's a trophy sport.
Yeah, for sure.
That's played for postseason hardware by the end of it. And a lot of that hardware, to your point, is handed out between teams who have mostly had opt-outs on their rosters. Danny White lended his thoughts, though, and explained why he wants 24 teams, and I'm here to poke holes in this argument.
I don't remember when I did that, but I think I just look at, we have 20 sports at Tennessee, and the percent of teams with access to postseason, I think it's low in football, and I think we need more access. So I'm for that. I think there's a lot of different ways to do it, and a lot of really good ideas. We got smart commissioners and a bunch of people trying to figure it all out.
Are you?
Danny White yesterday wants more access to the postseason, more representation, a bigger percentage of teams that can play meaningful postseason football in the college football playoff. Why he's for expansion. What do you think about that?
Again, from his standpoint, the way Danny has shown and operated and kind of elevated Tennessee out of, I guess, old school ways of doing things, this fits what Danny's all about. Danny's very progressive. Danny's a businessman, the way I viewed him as of late. You don't get the entertainment district without Danny White. You don't get the deck. You don't get, in my personal opinion, probably going back to Adidas without Danny White. Danny's a money man, the way I look at it, too, and he's a sports lover. The more sports and the more money that you can get is a perfect combination for Danny White, the way I've seen it, too, and I don't blame him. As an AD, you're supposed to be able to change the narrative and the balance sheet at the end of the year for your team. He knows this, coming from where he's come from and being in administration all his life. The more, especially when you got a fan base like the Vols, or you got one like Alabama or Georgia, the SEC in general, people are going to spend. I tell anybody, if you're upset with Danny White and how the prices have gone up, or, hey, now there's a talent fee on your ticket, stop going. But here's the thing. We're not. You said it a second ago. There's nothing like being on campus. I experienced that last year, like in totality, like for the first real time in my adult life. I never really experienced it like this as a player. Like, I understood what it meant for fans to show up on game day, and I just thought, like, man, this is just something to do. No, there's a love affair for your college team. It's what I figured out. And these ADs, these money, the folks that determine how you spend your money, they know that. And Danny comes from a school of administrators. Comes from a family of administrators. He knows that. Again, I like the idea of it because of what it can mean for stability for a university up until a certain amount of time. But again, the idea that Tennessee is going to end up playing some small school and blow them out is the reality of it, too. And maybe you like living in that world, too. But eventually, it'll get down to the Final Four that it was really meant for in the end. And that's the reality of it, too. There's not much you can do to supplement talent when you know that you're less than, or you're recruiting less than it as well, unless you got you an all-star world beater coach like Cignetti, right? He, to me, is the golden rule when it comes down, I guess the gold standard when it comes down to a coach coaching his behind off to get his team at where they're supposed to be at. And I know he's got an older roster and everything else that goes into it. But if you got a coach like him, then you believe in this process. Everybody else is just trying to get a participation in it now.
Here's where Danny White's wrong. I think the right percentage already has access to the postseason. If you count the right amount of teams as the bottom of the fraction. Here's what I mean by that. Danny White, for the sake of argument, is counting it, in my opinion, the G5 and the bottom of the Power Four that doesn't really have a chance to compete at the highest level.
They really don't. I'm glad you say that.
Because we do this math all the time in talking about, look at the NFL. The NFL, you have 14 out of 32. That's a big percentage. We should have 40 to 50 teams out of college football. No, but wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, you have competitive balance. You have schedules that are run through simulations to make things as even as they possibly can. You have a draft selection order. I don't ever want to compare the NFL to college football in terms of postseason because everyone plays relatively balanced schedules. When you look at Major League Baseball, when you look at the NBA, you look at people compare this, it's just like being the 8th seed. Well, it's not, though, because you can't argue to me that Utah is playing the same schedule as Georgia, who's playing the same schedule as Ohio State, who's even playing the same schedule as Purdue within all of this.
Right.
If you take the amount of teams who are similarly balanced, competitively balanced, within schedules, within resources, within facilities, within recruiting budgets, you end up closer to what the NFL number really is. You probably have 30 to 40 teams who legitimately have a chance. If they hire correctly, if they recruit correctly, if they have the schedule break their way, if they have the football bounce their way, I think you would have 30 to 40 teams. You have the Big Ten, you have the SEC who all get the same check.
Yep.
Give or take a couple of teams within both of those conferences who, let's face it, just aren't going to be national championship contenders in football unless they totally crush it and all the stars align. We're talking about the Purdues. Respectfully, we're talking about the Mississippi States. We're talking about the Vanderbilts that can be 10 wins, can be maybe 11 wins. But, it's going to take every star to align for them to be perennial.
Rutgers.
And I mean perennial.
Rutgers.
National championship contenders. Rutgers is a great example.
Yeah.
Because you also have some schools within this that aren't full conference members, who aren't getting the full conference check. SEC, obviously you can make the argument that Vanderbilt is a couple bounces away from being in that national conversation last year. I just mean long term. You look at a 10-year rolling average. I think there are about 30 teams, and that's probably a conservatively big number, who have the resources needed to compete. Maybe it's closer to 20, to be quite honest with you. And you've got 12 spots at the college football playoff. That's what Danny White is manipulating here. And I understand why he is. Because, again, it's preservation. It's looking at balance sheets. It's looking at numbers saying, we're paying how much for football this year? This isn't sustainable.
No.
Athletic directors know it. Presidents know it. Chancellors know it. It is not sustainable to continue to feed all the mouths and all the coaches that keep saying, I want more. I need facilities. I need my fans to sit in nicer seats. I need better lines to get into concession stands and bathrooms. I need better players. My starting quarterback just left and it's April. What the heck? What am I doing? He's got a lot of people to serve. And I do not blame Danny White whatsoever for his position.
No.
But I think he is picking a convenient narrative to tell a story that helps the University of Tennessee and universities everywhere right now that are looking at balance sheets and numbers and saying, this isn't sustainable.
You know what's fascinating?
Rant
You're
over.
talking about that too. No, it's an awesome rant by you. Is I look at it from the players' side of this too. I feel like in all of this fluff about all this conversation about, hey, college football playoffs, the amount of money being raised, how good is your team? Who has a real chance to actually make it to the college football playoffs? And all of this, though, too, there are goals still by the players that have to be met. And I feel like the way it's set up, they're trying to get the best absolute team that they can. But how many of these coaches, the way I see them coach up players from time to time, are actually setting you up for the biggest league, though, too? To me, I feel like the way it's setting up right now is overly trying to separate itself from the NFL, which I get and I understand this, too. But to your point about how you set up a college football playoff series is trying to get the best possible team that you can. And the reality of it is not every team's going to have this opportunity. You say you think it's probably about 10 teams in the end, 30 overall that probably deserve to be considered real opportunities when it comes down to getting to the college football playoffs.
I would say just programs who could get to a Final Four, who have the resources needed to compete at the highest level.
Pool of 30.
Give or take.
Give or take, ball bouncing the right
Probably
way.
more take.
In all of this, to me, and having this conversation, I feel like when I went to college, I had two goals. One, I wanted to just play for the school. Winning a national championship is very circumstantial. There's only one, and it's 130-plus teams. At the time when we were in college, I think it was 119 teams that you consider like D1 that were able to go get and compete for college football playoffs. I don't even know if the coaches are in position where they care about development anymore, because how are you supposed to pour into development of getting guys to the next level?
I think,
like we talked about Rutgers. Yeah. Like, how real is it that Rutgers is trying to develop their players to actually make it to the next level too? I think that's being lost in all of this. Like, the good will be found regardless.
That's true.
But as much fuss we're making about trying to make it to the postseason, it's about how many players can we accumulate. And I feel like teams like Rutgers, teams like Minnesota's are trying to preserve themselves, while the other teams like LSU, like Georgia, like Alabama, like Ohio State are playing a different league. Like, there are two different games being played right now.
And that's between the SEC and Big
sports.
Ten, because they get Big Ten checks just like the top of the conference does, who's competing for national titles.
I knew all of this was going on. The money was being exchanged. We know. I mean, Tennessee's been involved in it. Memphis has been involved. Bama's been involved in the conversation of passing out bags.
Yeah.
But
Everybody
I felt
is.
like the coaches still met the conversation at your house to say, hey, I'm going to do all I can to prepare you for the NFL.
Well, because you knew you'd have that kid for 2, 3, 4 years.
You don't get that now. You got the ones that are trying to thrive and the ones that are just trying to survive, I feel like now. That's what's happening.
I agree. I totally agree. But players aren't playing under the same systems for multiple years anymore. Not the way they used to.
So why would you develop?
Yeah. I mean, I think coaches care about development. It's just, do the kids care about development too? I mean, the shoe can be on both feet.
It's check chaser.
Yeah. Right. At the end of all of it, to wrap a bow on it, we need more people like Mike Elko who are willing to say the quiet part out loud and who are willing to speak on behalf of the sport and not themselves. And obviously that's the minority opinion that Mike Elko has. A majority of athletic directors and coaches want it to expand, to preserve themselves and their programs and their contracts and their nice cars that they get to drive because of those contracts. It's why there is such a need for a commissioner of this sport and a commissioner of all this who actually has authority to make changes, weigh penalties, make rules, that doesn't have a self-interest to serve. And Greg Sankey is a good commissioner of the SEC. The SEC has self-interests. Greg Sankey has self-interest. For all the talk about we should just make Greg no, stop. We got here because of Greg Sankey. And that's his job, to act in self-interest to the SEC. I'm not blaming him, but Greg Sankey started all of this by getting Oklahoma and Texas. Started all of it. We don't get to this point without Greg Sankey making the power play that he did. I don't like acting like he's just totally innocent in all of this. 615-737-1045, our number. A big NFL headline yesterday. Josh Jacobs in trouble. We'll talk about the allegations, the next steps for a star running back in the NFL after this. Wednesday morning, wrapping up hour one on Ramon and Will, 615-737-1045. Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs was arrested Tuesday and booked on several domestic violence charges. According to the Hobart Lawrence Police Department in Wisconsin, 28-year-old was booked on charges of battery, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, domestic abuse, strangulation and suffocation, and intimidation of a victim. According to Brown County jail records, the strangulation and suffocation charge is a felony. The other four are misdemeanors, and according to the records, Josh Jacobs is being held without bond. The police department was dispatched to the alleged disturbance involving Jacobs on Saturday. Ongoing and active investigation, says the chief of police. His attorneys deny the allegations. First team All-Pro selection, Josh Jacobs in 2022 with the Raiders, a three-time Pro Bowler. The Packers were set to begin OTAs yesterday, and Matt LaFleur will speak with the media today. The NFL aware of it, Ramon, and has been in contact with the Packers. These are very serious allegations against a very good football player.
Yes, it is. And allowed charges on top of that, man. It seems to me, respectfully, I say all this because I don't know her and love is blind the way I look at these situations. But looking at just this charge right here, strangulation and suffocation, and also intimidation and criminal damage to property and domestic abuse. Sounds like it was he and a female that he was dating. I think it was reported on social media that he was dating a girl that was known only.
You want to explain what that means for those who don't know?
She was a girl that a lot of people knew, is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't know if she has a website.
On the internet.
On the internet, but she's a girl that a lot of guys knew. And in that, it sounds to me that he tried to, take her home and make a very decent woman out of her. And it seems to me that he grabbed her phone probably. This is the way I see the situation, and got very physical with her. Like you can't go after the most popular girl that guys know very intimately and think that you can just put yourself in a better situation. Like he found out the hard way that like some zebras don't change their stripes the way I look at this situation. Like it's well known who he was dating. I think they posted they was on vacation together on the beach and stuff like that. Well, guess what? It's about to get hot outside. It's summer. It's boring in Green Bay. She might want to go to the beach with another dude. And it seems to me that might end up being the case in this situation right here. It sucks for him. His job's at stake. No bond is wild to me. But you also got to be careful of who you are trying to date when it comes down to the amount of images that his said girlfriend might have on the internet. That's a tough place to be in. Pride's in the way. But also now your job's at stake. We're talking about 5 charges right here, and felonies are included in this. Brother, don't be dumb. If you knew she was for the streets, leave it like that. That's just a terrible place to be at. Like, I get, like, a lot of these guys, the NBA does it the worst, in my opinion. They toss around the same females. And this, to me, is by far one of the wildest situations that I've seen. And now it's going to end up potentially costing him some suspension time, more than likely, or his career at this point. The NFL does not play when it comes down to domestic. And I'm sure, like most people that live in America these days, there's a camera somewhere in or around their house, or the images from her body, because she's a light-skinned chick. She's probably going to have some bruises around her or hit. Like, that's the other part of it, though, too. Tough situation, man. You cannot be rich and dumb. And right now he's been both of them, rich and dumb.
LA Chargers and Derwin James agreed to a 3-year, $75.6 million contract extension, making him the highest paid safety for the second time in his career yesterday. $57.5 million guaranteed. Derwin James still doing it at a high level. Earned his 4th All-Pro honor last season. He was entering the final year of his 4-year extension that made him originally the highest paid safety in the league in 2022, resetting the market that was passed by Kyle Hamilton last year. What was it like playing against Derwin James in the AFC?
You better have your head on the swivel. It's like, as far as modern safeties, it was Eric Berry and then it was Derwin James. You better have your head on the swivel. And I know Ed Reed, of course, Troy Polamalu, all those dudes is in that conversation for sure. But as far as modern NFL players that will lay you out, Eric Berry and him. There's no other way around it. Like, he plays like a linebacker, and he makes you feel him on each and every play, so much so that he's got in trouble with the league from time to time on how physical he plays.
Yeah.
You do not want to be going across the middle when he's lurking, man. It's the way I view him. He deserves it. He's been as good as I think anybody can possibly be. I think he takes real good care of his family, his siblings, and stuff like that. Solid individual for all things that I know about him, man. And in that defense with the Chargers, Derwin James fits exactly what Harbaugh wants.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, an update to the Brendan Sorsby saga after this.
7:02. Good morning, live from the Circuit Sports at Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA Western Conference Finals. The Thunder take Game 5 and the 3-2 series lead over the Spurs, winning 127-114 Tuesday night. League MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 32 points, leading the way for the Thunder, who are now just one win away from a return trip to the NBA Finals. Game 6 is Thursday night in San Antonio. NHL playoffs. The Golden Knights completed the 4-0 series sweep over the Avalanche to win the Western Conference Finals after winning 2-1 last night. They make their return trip to the Stanley Cup Final, where they last won it back in 2023. Former Predator Cole Smith had the game-winning goal in the third period, as Vegas will now await the winner of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Hurricanes and Canadiens, with Game 4 tonight in Montreal, and Carolina leads the series 2-1. NFL news yesterday: the Chargers and safety Derwin James agreed to a 3-year, $75.6 million contract extension yesterday. It makes him the highest-paid safety in the NFL. And in college football news yesterday, the NCAA denied former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby his eligibility for the 2026 college football season due to countless sports gambling betting. Texas Tech is planning to appeal that decision. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Bringing news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. in beautiful Music City, USA, as Hour 2 begins on Ramon and Will. Mark Mariani of Titans Radio joins us in 15 minutes on the sidelines for our radio crew in 2026. Excited to welcome him on the show.
Same.
And welcome him to the team.
Same.
Here, coming up at 7:20. Mark Mariani always brings it and is the perfect energy boost. If you are driving to work, you need the extra caffeine off the long holiday weekend. He is always a shot of moonshine.
Yes.
On 3HL, and we'll put a little moonshine in our coffees, figuratively speaking, coming up at 7:20.
No doubt about it. I'm looking forward to the conversation with him. I hadn't had time to, I now got to get his number, speak with him to officially say, hey, man, welcome aboard with all of us, man. Brad and I have exchanged numbers, and everybody else has so far, too. I know Ben already, so looking forward to rolling with those dudes this fall. But to your point, Moonshine is a ball of energy at all times. I love him on Fridays with the HL.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we may, on the Titans radio crew this upcoming season, see Brendan Sorsby in an NFL stadium, because we sure as heck aren't going to see him in a college stadium. Yesterday, the NCAA denied Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby his request to be reinstated as eligible for the 2026 season, even as the school president publicly backed his desire to play for the Red Raiders amid a, quote, complex situation. I don't really know what's complex about it. You broke rules that get you banned from the NCAA, and you have to live with the consequences. Oh, no.
Exactly.
If it isn't the consequences of mine own actions. Brendan Sorsby, Ramon, is probably, maybe, potentially going to be on a practice squad or NFL roster next year. What do you think's next for him? Because they can still appeal this, but I don't think he's playing college football anymore.
Nah, he's done playing college football. I feel like he's the type of player that needed this year. I say this with all due respect to him. He was college good. I'm not sure if he's NFL ready, though. Does he have talent to get him on the team? Yeah, but his problems, in my opinion, outweigh his talent at this point in time. Like, his problems are immense when it comes down to what he got suspended for. This isn't like a speeding situation where you find yourself just in trouble, or weed, right? Even weed, I feel like he'd be able to beat it in today's NFL with how they allow certain stuff and kind of loosen the rules a little bit. We're talking about betting. We're talking about a league in which the NFL has business with and has training often about, hey, you should not, you cannot, you will not when it comes down to betting. And he's coming into the NFL with this black eye? Absolutely not. I know some are saying like he can go in the supplemental draft. He should. I personally don't think he's going to get drafted. I think at best he probably was a second or third round draft pick going into the 2027 draft. I think he has some talent, but not enough that's going to warrant the team giving up a second or third round draft pick. In my personal opinion, I think he goes undrafted and find himself on a roster and have to fight his way up at that point. And it's always going to be the common conversation around him. Are you betting? Because at the rate that he was doing it, he's giving himself. I think he's the equivalent to the way the league viewed Josh Gordon. You knew he had something. Josh Gordon, that's almost disrespectful to him because he's got way more talent than Brendan Sorsby does at this point in time.
Does he?
Yes.
Wasn't he a supplemental draft pick?
He was cold. Josh Gordon was by far, he could have easily have been the best wide receiver in the entire NFL had he just stayed off the weed.
Second round of the 2012 supplemental draft.
Exactly. Brendan Sorsby doesn't have this level of talent. Not even close.
Because the Browns used a second-round pick to secure Josh Gordon in the second round of the 2012 supplemental draft, they then forfeited their second-round selection in the 2013 NFL draft.
Yes.
So that's what it's going to take for a team to take a chance on him. Dane Brugler tweeted about this yesterday, the author of The Beast and athletic draft analyst, said, now the courts get involved. The NFL supplemental draft in July feels like the most likely outcome for Sorsby. He would be the most high-profile quarterback prospect to enter the supplemental draft in 30-plus years. I think, to me, Ramon, I would guess he's around a 4th or 5th round pick, to your point. I would probably say 5th.
I go 5 through 7.
I just think in terms of his raw ability and value, he's probably closer to 4 or 5 in terms of now teams that have already made their picks and executed their plans at the quarterback position. I think there is less value for him simply because other teams who would have needed him don't need him anymore.
They don't need him anymore, right. And I think that's why he slides a little bit. Now, he'll end up on a roster, maybe. But again, this gambling side that he's shown the world is not for the faint of heart going into the NFL either. On Saturdays, we mess around a little bit, of course, have friendly wagers and stuff like that. Like, we speak about our love that we have for the universities that we played at. Well, guess what we do on Saturdays? Some teams do like a little player sheet where they like do friendly picks and stuff like that. Are you going to allow him to be in on that? Like I heard LeVar Arrington speaking about it this morning, like on the plane, guys still play cards. I've seen it in locker rooms before or at guys' houses that they speak about, like they still shoot dice. Like these are the things that happen. At any competition, somebody's going to say, all right, bet. And what does Sorsby do in those moments right there? Like, and I know you're probably saying, well, he should be mature enough and he's going to rehab.
He's shown he isn't.
He's not.
Right.
And that's the issue that he has right now is, do I think he want to risk his career twice? No. But as a coach, are you willing to give up a future draft pick to go get him right now? With where his talent is going to be, in my opinion, I think he's a future backup at best in the NFL with the opportunity to start from time to time. Only reason I say this is if he's not a bona fide first-round draft pick and he's coming in with this baggage already, are you telling me he's going to play himself out of being a second, third, now a 5th to 7th round draft pick? Is it worth the squeeze to you as a team and say, we invest in you because we liked him anyway? This isn't an Arch Manning situation.
No, it's not even close to it.
He's not even close to that competition.
But I also think he's better than backup potential. I mean, he had 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year for Cincinnati in 12 games in the Big 12.
In the Big 12.
62% of his passes. Right. Big 12 was solid last year.
Yeah, no doubt. I think he's college good. I don't think he's NFL elite.
Like I don't think he's elite, but I also don't think he's a backup. Like, I think he has starter potential in the league.
Starter. Is he better than Tyler Shuck? You thought about it too long.
Well, no, in terms of the prospect coming out of college, I think he's similar. Tyler Shuck was way better as a rookie than I expected him to be personally. He's also not 25. I mean, he's not as old as Tyler Shuck was.
But he would have to find himself in a perfect situation like that. Like okay, all right, Arizona.
I think Arizona or the New York Jets are the two teams that make sense for Brendan Sorsby, yeah.
But I've said this before. I think Arizona has zero interest in winning this year, though, too. So why give up a pick right now for a quarterback that's going to sit?
Well, Brendan Sorsby playing quarterback might be a great way to not win.
This is true, but they also got Gardner Minshew already in-house. And Carson Beck as well. They already got their rookie quarterback. So to your point a second ago, teams already have their guys that are Brendan Sorsby like.
Yeah.
They already have them.
That is the best example of a team that might have taken itself out of the Sorsby sweepstakes.
Yes.
To me, the Jets are the one that make the most sense.
Jets make That New York, yeah. Screw the New York media. You're right. That can make sense for him, but are they willing to give that up at this point in time? Like,
Probably
I just
a
don't think
fifth-round pick. Yeah, I mean, they have 3 1s next year. The Jets do.
The coaches don't want distractions, especially from a guy that doesn't carry talent. The reason I bring up the Josh Gordon situation is everybody knew what he was capable of as far as a supplemental draft pick. Like, that to me, he was a day one starter. This guy ended up turning out to be an all-pro.
Sure, but his trouble also was so significant that, I mean, he was a distraction in terms of the reasons why, again, he was in the supplemental draft. Like, Sorsby, I don't think I'll pose it as a question. Does Sorsby have the same level of red flags off the field as Josh Gordon did?
I think his is worse.
Really?
Yeah. We're talking about a substance versus something that can take the league down. We're talking about gambling. Like, what happens if he wants to scratch that itch? Like, that's the issue that you run into and why the league is so strict on players with gambling. It's because at any point in time they feel like the product on the field, a.k.a. the players, are manipulating the games. Like, this league, which is taking over America and trying to take over the world, they take it way more serious than we, respectfully.
I don't know if it would take down the league, though. I mean, they're just going to take down his career if he does it again.
It taints the name.
I'm just saying, like, if the reason the league has a hard stance on it is because, like Hawk said, like, it taints the name if players are involved in it.
Again.
But if
it's not going to take down the league.
But if one does, my point is the integrity of you saying, like, I believe the players out there are playing as hard as they can to win games and nobody's trying to screw us over as far as bet goes. Like, they can't afford that to be a problem.
I wouldn't think that based off an entire team or league if Brennan Sorsby is someone who has a history of gambles. To me, that's not taking down the whole league. That's just taking down his career again.
It would be, but it can also cause a distraction and conversation for players that don't want to have it. For a guy, I don't think that has that much talent.
There are a lot of distractions.
I ain't going to say he doesn't have that much
Josh
talent.
Jacobs stuff is a distraction.
It is.
Anything off the field is a distraction.
But it doesn't screw with the integrity of the game, Josh Gordon's situation. I mean, Josh Jacobs.
Well, either of the Joshes, yeah.
Either of the Joshes. It doesn't mess with the integrity of the game for whatever that means.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I hate it for him. I do. He needed this, and he clearly had a problem.
I just think there are enough teams right now without a really hopeful solution at quarterback. Someone's going to take a chance on him. And to me, the Jets make sense. The question locally is, how do you weigh Brennan Sorsby against Will Levis? Brennan Sorsby, a younger talent, more of a mystery box in terms of what they could be, what he could be, a major red flag in terms of off-field stuff, compared to someone who, as far as the NFL is concerned, is a different type of project. Someone who didn't work somewhere, needs to rewire their brain, through his own words. I mean, if you were the Jets, would you rather take Brennan Sorsby in the supplemental draft or give up a similar type pick to go get Will Levis?
I'd take Levis. Got the knowledge already. You know the talent, what it looks like, and you could utilize it. Sorsby, again, played at Cincinnati, never had the opportunity. And Levis comes in at least with a better pathway of convincing people that he's able to play for you, as opposed to Sorsby, who comes in with the baggage of gambling, and he won't have a year of playing if he doesn't go. And he, to me, is an undrafted free agent at this point in his career. If he does get drafted, I thought way less of his talent than another team did, but I personally don't think he's worth the draft pick in the supplemental draft right now.
Okay. I think Levis would be the better selection for a team like the Jets as well.
No doubt.
But I do think it might muddy those waters a little bit and give a team like New York another option.
Yeah, for sure.
615-737-1045. Mark Mariani joins us coming up next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. Put Lee Company on your team and stay ahead of the game with home maintenance, repairs, and more. For as little as $14 a month, become a Lee Company Plus member and receive 4 annual visits to your home for your heating air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. Even better, Lee Company Plus members receive 20% off on all repairs and enjoy priority service. If you're interested, you can learn more online at leecompany.com/plus. And you should be interested in this service because A, it's affordable for just $14 a month, and B, it keeps you ahead of whatever Mother Nature could throw at you here in the Middle Tennessee area. Those random blasts of cool air, the heat wave that we know is coming right around the corner here in the hot Middle Tennessee summer. Stay ahead of the game with all the repairs. Make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to by heading online and checking out Lee Company Plus. LeeCompany.com/plus. That's the website. Lee Company. All you need. Ramon Will continues at hour number 2 on this Wednesday morning. He is the 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined by one of the newest members of the Titans radio broadcast team for 2026. You hear him on 3HL. You've seen him in Two-Tone Blue. You know him as Moonshine. Mark Mariani joins us this morning. We're putting a little bit of moonshine in our coffee today. Mark, what's going on? How are you?
Good morning.
Everybody needs a little moonshine on hump day. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Man. Good morning.
Welcome to the
fellas.
team.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. How excited are you to join us on Titans Radio this year?
Oh my gosh, man. What a great team you guys got going, and I'm honored to say the least. It's been a crazy shakeup, obviously, the last couple of years, and with all that happened with our head man, with coach and everything. Obviously, there's a lot of changes in the air, but when I, was sitting in the bullpen twiddling my thumbs and I got the tap like, "Hey, bro, you're up." It was a great call, and I'm honored, and I'm going to give it everything I got. So I'm excited to be joining you boys.
No doubt about it, man. I'm glad to be working with you as well, man. And you guys just being able to be available for this is super huge, man. Last season in Nissan. But, Mark, I have to ask you, man, how close have you been to the real action as of late, though? Because that's the part of it where you're going to have to just check yourself, like, can I? Will I? Should I? Have you had those thoughts just yet about the sideline?
I've had a lot of thoughts, man. And, you guys are going to have to – keep an eye on me down there because I'm afraid I might throw the cleats back on and try to sneak out for a punt return or something. I'm itching to get back down there, but obviously, it's funny. Ramon, I got you beat by a lot as far as being a time away from the game. And I sit there now, when I do get on the sideline, obviously pre-game, not during the game, and I see these guys and the game is so fast. Yeah. These guys are so strong. I mean, I'm getting older. I'm like looking at the boys down there. I'm like, golly, man, did I really used to do that? This is crazy. So I got a lot of respect for this game, and I'm excited to get back down and close to the action. I got a lot to learn. Yeah. I've been doing radio for a while, but I think it's a little bit of a different ball game here. So I'm excited to accept the challenge and get down there and try to deliver some goodness.
Mark, we're joined by Mark Mariani this morning. Mark, when you mentioned that side of it, though, too, being out of the game, what was that like for you, that transition? Like, everybody always asks me, did you miss it? Do you miss it? Have you gotten to that point of actually missing it at all?
Oh, man. Yeah. We'll get to know each other a lot better. I'm not one of those guys that was ever really ready to hang them up. I miss it every day, man. I loved it so much. I'm a small town Montana kid who was living his dream, and I was a grinder. I was doing all the dirty work when it needed to be done, and catching punts back there is not for the faint of heart. But I just love standing under that ball, man, knowing that if they got me before I got out of there, it was going to hurt a little bit. So I loved it. I loved the adrenaline. I was living my dream. And so when I retired and got into the next chapter, it's something I think about often. And I love my time with Two-Tone Blue. So now I get to be just a psychopath Titans homer and yelling about them and losing a lot of money when we go 3-14 and just living the emotional roller coaster that has been the Titans the last few years. So I definitely have a strong passion for the game still and think about it a lot.
Mark Mariani, our guest, Titans radio sideline reporter of the 2026 season, former Titan, of course, as well. Mark, I got to see on field level last year the speed of someone I'm sure you love watching last year, and Chim DK down there on field level and what he was able to do in the 2025 season. I'm curious your thoughts on his role in this offense moving forward into 2026. What does the best possible role for Chimray DK look like heading into year 2 with so much potential and obviously talent in the return game, maybe more of an opportunity to carve out a role in offense as well? How do you think this staff is looking at what's best for him this upcoming season, and what do you think that best role is for him heading into year 2?
Yeah, great point. I mean, he already has done something that I never did. His rookie year, man, he was making plays on offense all over the field, and I love seeing that. You know, I loved what he came in and did. I love watching him return the ball. I think he's a pure catcher of the football back there as far as under punts and kicks, and watching him is funny. Like, he's a guy that has so much gifted speed that sometimes it looks like he's in slow motion when he's returning, but he's cruising because the speed is just so natural. So he's running through, you know, breaking the first line or second line of defense on these returns. It looks like he's not even moving. I'm like, this dude is incredible. So that being said, I hope, you know, I plan, or I expect to see that continue. John Fossil is one of the best special teams coaches in the entire league. And so that on that side of the ball, I love what we have going. As far as on offense, I'm sure you guys have talked about this ad nauseum at this point. This receiver room all of a sudden has gotten really crammed.
Right.
I mean, it has gotten really crammed. So I expect him to be definitely a guy they can move around, a package guy. He's the type of guy you got to get the ball in his hands. But so, you know, all of us are excited to see this offense, but they pick up a guy in Wan'Dale Robinson that you got 140 targets a season the last 2 years as the semi 1 or 2 or whatever you want to call it, with Malik Neighbors being on and off up there in New York. And then you draft a first round wide receiver. I love the potential still of a veteran in Calvin Ridley, who's got some gas left in the tank. And then you got Alec Ayumanner, who's coming off a big rookie year. So there's going to be a lot of, you know, hopefully a lot of pigskin to go around for everybody. But Kim's role has got to be find a way to get him the ball in open space, find a way to, you know, be the insurance man for a lot of these positions. The way that I got on the field, mostly up in Chicago, was you just knew everything. I knew every position on the field. I knew, you know, they when the receiver coach looks at you and he needs a guy to go take a big rep in a big game, he doesn't want somebody he's unsure if they know what they're doing or not. So learn the offense, be the guy, be ready to go in at any moment, and hopefully find a way to get him the ball in open space. And we've seen that he can be electric from there.
Mark Mariani, our guest here this morning on Ramon and Will. Going back to your point on Bones Fossil, and obviously his resume speaks for itself with the All-Pros and the success that he's had as a special teams coach. What do you think makes him so different, Mark? What makes Bones the premier special teams coach for so many people in this league?
Well, I mean, it feels like we're talking about a draft pick here, but it's right. The intangibles. Yeah. It's the intangibles, man. It's stuff you can't measure. He brings it every second of every day. He bleeds it. He's passionate about it. He loves his players, and it's if you're out there watching him coach, there's no question about, you know, if he loves the game, 2, if he loves the guy, 3, if he's had enough caffeine today. I mean, this dude is absolutely on one at all times, and it shows. And I mean, he's been around the block. He's been in a lot of different situations. I kind of had cross paths with him off the field a little bit when he was in St. Louis with the Fisher guys back in the day, and then moved over to LA, obviously. But and so, dude, when you were around this guy, you're just like, this guy breathes, eats, sleeps, breathes, bleeds football at all times, and that passion boils over and spills out into his players, and it just, guys fly around for him. So, I mean, the leap we took from the year before to when Bones came was extraordinary. And, you know, guys, you guys talk about this every morning, and everyone's heard it, but when we're sitting here in January of this year going, wow, we have 3 coaching positions to fill, we have all this stuff, and we get Robert Saleh, Brian Daboll, Gus Bradley, and Bones Fossil as our coordinators. Are you kidding me about how this offseason is going and the optimism for Titans football? It has got to be through the roof on the hires we made and the direction this team is going. So I just get fired up thinking about it.
For sure. Mark, I tell anybody, too, man, when you look at the game of football, specifically the NFL, man, it's a beautiful game with a brutal business behind it. You mentioned this earlier in your conversation when you came on. It was just like the wide receiver room is stacked. I have to ask you, man, we can probably name out 5 wide receivers right now that are probably going to make this team. For the guys, I would say like Alec Ayumanor as well, and who's in the conversation with Bryce Oliver. And then you have numerous other guys on this team that come in with veteran experience like a KJ Osborne. How do you as a young guy separate yourself if you don't have a skill set like Chimere Dike to try to make this team? Because there's other guys that are trying to, Xavier Restrepo being a part of this conversation in general. Like, how do those guys catch the coach's eyes going into this new staff, new vision with the Titans?
Oh, man, great. Yeah, it's so hard, and you're right. It's got to be it's a intimidating position to be in, knowing that you're climbing that depth chart with not a lot of room to go. But I mean, I got to be honest. I found myself in that position a lot in my career, especially toward the end of it. And you just got to bring it every single day. You got to be dependable. You got to be accountable. And especially for these guys that are learning a new offense, you got to learn the playbook. You got to be a guy that when they tap you in, you know exactly what you're doing. You can't be thinking out there, and you got to go make plays. I mean, it's going to be tough, and it's going to there really aren't that many positions in that room available, and so you got to bring it every single day. You got to put your head down, and you really got to just focus. I think where I ended up making it in my career was that I was a walk-on. I was a 7th-round draft pick. I was a guy that wasn't supposed to make it, and so I didn't really have I wasn't given the gift of being able to look forward in my career. I couldn't start the season in training camp thinking, man, this is going to be, I'm going to start at receiver this year. No, I had to bring it every single day by choice or not by choice. I mean, I just had to. That was the only route I could take. So you just got to bring it every single day, stay in that book, learn it, and be a guy that can tap in. And then you know how it is, Moan.
Yeah.
One of my receivers coaches used to tell me, and it stuck with me for a long time, you got to make them hit rewind. When you're in that film room, you got to hit rewind, and you got to say, who's this guy? Make a play. Go make a splash. Go do something that they stop. We don't have names on our jersey, or didn't used to. Who is that guy? The coach is looking around. Let's see. Let's check the depth chart here. Oh, yeah, dude. Marianne, he made a play. Alec made a play, Xavier made a play. You got to make them go rewind the film, make a play, learn your stuff, and be dependable.
Man, it's a survival mindset. It really is. As a former undrafted myself, like I was telling Willem, like last year, like the importance of Bones Fossil and special teams. Like, I don't think people understand, like, you might be a first or second round linebacker, but you're going to play special teams. You might be a wide receiver or starting safety in college, and you're going to play special teams because that's where you earn. You earn by coaches trusting that you're going to hash out the game plan the way they want it to. What does special teams mean for guys who aren't, Mark, as you said, that first round draft pick? Let's just name them. If you're not Carnell Tate, how important is special teams to everybody else?
Oh, man, it's so pivotal, man. And here's the thing about it is if you don't accept the role and love it and work hard at it and try to get better at it and go take the field looking to make plays, you're gonna be found out. Everyone's gonna know you're a fraud. I've seen it 100 times where a guy doesn't want to do it, and I'm a guy they're supposed to be blocking for, mind you. I got 10 guys in front of me, and every single time I'll take the 50th guy on the roster that is just salivating to get in the game rather than, the backup who thinks he should be the starter and doesn't want to be out there, man. Someone's going to run through my face mask. But if you take the field with passion and excitement and trying to get better at it, you will be found. They will find you. They need guys out there because don't forget about this. 2 years ago now, that kickoff and kick return almost got extinct from the game.
It did.
And they kept that play alive. The special teams coaches locked themselves in a room, and they kept that play alive. And by doing that, they kept roster spots available for 2 of the 4 big special teams. Mm-hmm. So now you're right, Moan. You have a place, if you're in the back end of that depth chart, you have a place to go find a spot on special teams, go find a role, and be passionate about it and be excited about it, because that's how a lot of these guys are going to make their first paycheck a few years in the league. So special teams is always massive.
The old mindset for guys who weren't position players, the more you can do, the longer you stay around. Like that's the mindset.
And it is that you hit it. It is that survival mindset. It's a bad place to be in mentally, but it's just the nature of the beast. But when you are in that corner, back into that corner, and you just it's all about, fight your way out, get to the top, scratch and claw for everything you got. You really find out what guys are made of in that moment.
No doubt about it. Well, Mark, we're excited to have you on the team, excited to work with you on Titans Radio this year. We have got a squad. We're going to have a ton of fun, and hopefully we're going to see some more wins this year, too, as well, for the Titans in 2026. Thank you for the time. We'll certainly do this again soon, and looking forward to a fun year.
Yep, I love it, guys. I'm really excited. I'll talk to you guys, and I'll see you guys all very soon.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Love it. Mark Mariani.
Have a great day.
Yes, sir. You too.
Appreciate it.
Mark Mariani with us here this morning, talking a little Titans, and I just love his energy.
It's so high.
He's going to bring to our broadcast and just the overall perspective he's got. And I think, too, it makes good points on Chim DK. Chim's in a really similar position that Mark was early in his career. Hey, this guy's a weapon with the football in his hands. How do we use that? When he went to Chicago and he had more of an opportunity after the unfortunate injury that he had, that was the big opportunity for him. And I'm curious what Chim DK's role in the offense looks like. Do they want him more on offense? Do they want him less on kicks, more on punts? Is Nick Singleton going to work his way into being a kick returner as another option? Because then you can actually return it and not just have it kicked through the end zone every single time. Interested to see what the vision is.
And also how Chim DK feels about himself. Does he want to evolve into more of a wide receiver? It's that part, too, because that's what I thought his role was going to be here. I knew he can get down the field. We saw him in Florida be able to stretch out the back end of the defense with his speed. He has it, but he's good with the ball in his hand, and that's where he got to decide what he want to be as career. Does he want to be Kadera Patterson? Or does he want to be a wide receiver stuck in a position and just say, you know what, we'll pass this over to Singleton? Like that. It's a good problem, but it's also one that he has to be settled in mentally too. The way I look at it,
100%. It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious how Bones would feel. Bones Fossil, the special teams coach, if you gave him truth serum and asked, is it worth putting DK out there for kicks just so they kick it through the back of the end zone and you always get the touchback yardage at the 35? Or is it worth putting someone else back there and having an opportunity to pop more big ones? Yeah. Because you're actually going to get kicked the ball more versus DK being back there and teams just being like, no, we'll just take touchback. We're not going to take the risk of you getting to plus yardage.
Does he put Chimray back there and also Singleton? Does he put both back there and then try to directionally kick it? Like, plays can be called for him, most 100%. Definitely. But we also saw teams electing not to kick it in his direction as well.
Right. 615-737-1045 is our number. Mark, the first of 2 Titans Radio sideline reporters and the new team that we'll have on this morning. Brad Hopkins coming up at 8:20 and Rhett Bryan at 9. When we come back, catching up on hoops and hockey last night's. I think the Thunder are good for the NBA, even though many of you shake your fist at the sky when you watch them play. We'll hit the headlines from last night's postseason action coming up after this.
One word that comes to mind when you think about Genesis Diamonds, it's integrity. This is a company built on a solid foundation with total transparency and honesty. This is why they don't have commissioned salespeople. They pay their employees, not you. So they aren't under any pressure to sell to you, and you aren't under any pressure to buy. They share with you the long held secrets of the diamond industry, teaching you the tricks to maximize the value of your purchase. They show you how to buy like a dealer buys. Another thing, at Genesis Diamonds, they don't play the pricing game. Unlike other jewelers, they work on very small margins, so they don't mark up to mark down prices. They offer the best value price every day, and when they do have a sale, it's the real thing, not a phony event. We're lucky to have Genesis Diamonds here. They're not another big box corporate chain store at all. They're locally owned, but with international connections that's guaranteed no middleman pricing on every diamond. And don't forget, only Genesis has the top bridal designer brands that everyone wants. They were handpicked by all the top designers because only Genesis meets the highest standards in quality and customer care that these other designers demand. You will love the experience there. Trust me. Genesis Diamonds are located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. It's Ramon for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, we hate dealing with issues around our house, especially when it comes to plumbing, HVAC, or electrical. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you if it get fixed right, or if somebody's trying to sell you something that you do not need. When you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly, and the price you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. There are zero hidden fees or surprises on your bill when they settle up with you. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated, so you know they care. They want to make sure that their customers are always in the best position to just live a very satisfactory life at all times. Their motto has been, and they truly believe in it, happy you'll be or the service is free. If you're not satisfied with the work that Hiller does, they will simply give you your money back or fix it as best as they possibly can. Listen, to learn more about them or to book with them like I do, simply head over to happyhiller.com.
Hoops and hockey postseason reaction to wrap up the first half of Wednesday morning's Ramon and Will. At Ramon and Will on Twitter. Brad Hopkins and Rhett Bryan still to come this morning. 615-737-1045. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't have his best night last night, but Ramon, when a guy has 32-9, and that isn't his best night, you know somebody's playing at a high level.
You best believe it, man.
Still 6 turnovers, a lot of free throws, of course, because that's the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander experience. But the Thunder take a 3-2 series lead, 127-114 last night over the San Antonio Spurs. Do you have the same dislike for Oklahoma City that most of the sports world seems to have, or are you kind of indifferent to it?
I'm kind of indifferent to it because I feel with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's worked his way up to this point. He wasn't everybody's love interest when it come down to how he came into the league. OKC isn't his first original team. If I'm not mistaken, he was with the Kings. So he had to work his way up. Oklahoma City in general isn't a team that people drop whenever it is a conversation about who's the best in the league too. So I say this, Oklahoma City deserves this. They built this up with the guys that they brought in. We're talking about Chet. We're talking about SGA. We're talking about Jared McCann. Like, they built this up. Aside from the fact that whenever Oklahoma had, they had KD, they had James Harden, they had that crew right there. You say to yourself, well, you thought they was just going to die and just get rolled over into being the Supersonics again. Nobody was thinking about Oklahoma ball at that point. Oklahoma City Thunder basketball. Mm-hmm. They've earned this. The way SGA plays, it can be up for debate all you want to, but the referees are calling. He's perfected the idea of making contact on his shots. I get it. He pump fakes well. He's a skill-oriented type of guy. He's good with the ball in his hand. But here's the other part, though, too. He can just flat out ball. There is no other conversation behind it. And the league, just the same way we can name them across the board. Caitlin Clark with the WNBA. Tom Brady or whoever the hottest, Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. Michael Jordan, LeBron, and now SGA. The stars get protected. It's tough when you are turning on the TV and the superstars aren't out there. You want their product and brand to be there. You also want to see them score, too. So I'm indifferent about it. I get it. Is he taking a lot of free throws? Yeah. But you got to scout and watch how he plays, too. The refs are calling it. It's good getting favor is what I would say.
Clippers, the team he was with in year one.
My bad. I know it was a Cali team. That's on me.
2018-19. Played all 82 games for them that year. He has led the league in free throws 4 straight seasons. In his 4 All-Star seasons out of his 8 years as an NBA player from 2023 through this year in 2026.
Yeah. It's just what he does. I like it, though, too. But here's the other part about their game. Whenever Chet Holmgren's in, they win, I feel like. When there's been moments in this series when Wemby can go at Chet and pretty much make him obsolete and they find the matchup all the time, it's a game for Wemby. But last night, you saw Chet sprinkling in scores throughout the entire matchup last night. And I think that lends himself to it. Not just that, it's the physicality that they're playing with as well. Mm-hmm. They are beating up the Spurs, and they're allowing that to happen. That's one thing I will say when it comes down to the foul merchant side of what Oklahoma plays. They beat up Stephon Castle and also Wemby all the time.
Sure.
And it's not called appropriately. Wemby had 12 shots last night from the free throw line. He went 12 for 12. But again, if you get an opportunity to watch him, like, he's getting hit in the back, in the air, push, bad.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chet Holmgren, 16 and 11 last night. For me, as a very casual and just non-NBA fan, because I don't watch it regularly during the regular season, I am more inclined to watch this series because of the overall villain nature of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the fact that they are a hated team gives me incentive to tune in and say, all right, well, what's this really all about? And then root against them. So, go Spurs.
It is. It's you'll see, though, too, in the marketing that Wemby has with the Spurs. He had an awesome – somebody, I think, made a campaign for Nike out of nowhere. It's him surrounded by the nuns.
Yeah.
That were at the game, and they had guard him or stop him. No, just pray. And it was by far one of the coolest things ever. I love what Wemby does, though, too, because he doesn't play the friendly stuff. he walked in between them last night, like shoulder bumping, like, I don't care who you are. I'm here to take this over. And I will say this, too. The league is on notice. Everybody knows it, but it's on notice for Wemby and the Spurs.
Speaking of teams that I love to casually dislike.
Ole Miss? Lane Kiffin? No, LSU?
The Las Vegas Golden Knights are headed back to the Stanley Cup Final for the third time in team history. A history that began in 2018. Crazy.
It's not fair.
2-1 win over the Colorado Avalanche in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. After sweeping the team that finished with the best regular season record of the NHL, the Golden Knights now await the winner of the Hurricanes and Canadiens, Mark Stone and Cole Smith.
Who?
With the goals. Huh?
You did this to me. Who? The who? Hurricanes and who?
I didn't hear
The
it.
Canadiens.
There you go. You did that to me last week.
Turn that red light off. Carter Hart made 20 saves. Golden Knights made the final in their inaugural season in 2018 when they lost in 5 games to the Capitals, and in 2023 when they beat the Panthers in 5 games. John Tortorella, the third coach in NHL history to lead his team to the Cup final after taking over in the final 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
Final 10 games of the season. They fired their coach. They hired Torts, and Torts has them in the Stanley Cup final.
How did they get to this point? I know they had a great supplemental draft. I mean, not supplemental draft, expansion draft for them, too. They were able to pick.
Yeah,
good
they were
pieces.
given a team of second lines.
Yeah.
They were given 4 second lines with what they were able to select, and they just never looked back.
There were some rule changes when this in 2017 when the expansion draft took place for the Golden Knights in 2018 for that season. There were some rule changes where teams could leave players available, and the Golden Knights kind of manipulated that in a way to where when Seattle came into about a few years later, those rule changes were kind of known by the teams, and they made these players less available because they had these really, average fourth liners and stuff that they were available. Where back in 2017-18, they made second line players available. They were high caliber, and they ended up being kind of highly anticipated, and Vegas went on to kind of be very successful. But they're just really good on the defense and really good in the neutral zone to where they don't allow any chances to come into their defensive zone. They're just playing really good hockey right now. And Tortorella, 18-4-1 since taking over, like Will said, just fantastic hockey.
It's unfortunate.
It is.
I don't know if it's just because their social media is so annoying or because they were basically given a good team and never had to wait for it the way we did. Because the Preds had that kind of expansion when they entered the league as an expansion team. The history of the Nashville Predators would look drastically different. Drastically different. But
they've also made some really good free agent acquisitions. Mitch Marner in the
trades.
offseason.
I mean,
and trades.
It's unfortunately a good franchise.
Former Predator Cole Smith had the game winner last night.
I know. I said that while you were correct.
That's
another
another
pronunciation of Canadiens.
Yeah, that's another unfortunate part.
Coming up, 2 coaches making headlines at SEC spring meetings. We've talked a little bit about Mike Elko. You'll hear his comments. Kirby Smart raising some eyebrows, talking about SEC secession that we'll talk about coming up next.
8:03, good morning live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NFL news this morning. 49ers and quarterback Mac Jones agreed to a revised contract for this season, adding a $300,000 roster bonus. Jones is now set to make $3.55 million in 2026 with another $2.25 million available in incentives. Mac Jones is scheduled to hit free agency next March. Other NFL news yesterday, the Chargers and safety Derwin James agreed to a 3-year, $75.6 million contract extension yesterday. It makes him the highest paid safety in the NFL. NBA Western Conference Finals, the Thunder take Game 5 and the 3-2 series lead over the Spurs, winning 127-114 Tuesday night. The Thunder now are just one win away from a return trip to the NBA Finals, Game 6 Thursday night in San Antonio. NHL playoffs, the Golden Knights completed the 4-0 series sweep over the Colorado Avalanche to win the Western Conference Finals after winning 2-1 last night and make their return to the Stanley Cup Final where they last won it in 2023. Vegas will now await the winner of the Eastern Conference Final between the Hurricanes and Canadiens. Game 4 tonight in Montreal at 7 o'clock. Carolina leads the series 2-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the second half of your Wednesday morning here on Ramon and Will. A cloudy, humid Wednesday with Brad Hopkins coming up in 15 minutes. Rhett Bryan in an hour. Your thoughts at the F at a Big Chat as always. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. SEC spring meetings are taking place this week, Ramon, in Sandestin, the place where the SEC and the city of Nashville like to vacation. But it is no vacation for athletic directors and coaches and Commissioner Greg Sankey as they address a number of issues facing college sports and primarily college football. Mike Elko talking about the differences in opinion for the college football playoff delivered a very strong statement yesterday on why we really shouldn't be asking him what we think his thoughts are on playoff expansion.
I don't know why you guys ask us. Like, why do you care what we think? Like, it doesn't matter what we think. I've said this before. I think there's two sides to that conversation. I think there's a good of college football where we better be really careful. I don't know why we're trying to become a trophy sport. I don't understand why that's something that we're trying to do. Then there's self-preservation, right? And so if you really ask me on record, what does Mike Elko want? I want 40, because then I'll make it and then I won't get fired.
But you will if you don't go deep enough if it's 40.
That'll take a few years, and then in a few years we'll readjust, and then I'll want something else. Have you not been around this thing long enough?
It's valuable self-awareness from Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko, Ramon, something that we don't really often get from college football coaches when they are totally honest with us.
Yeah, no doubt. And all this is just, I think, a race to get some guidelines in place. The issue that they have, though, and speaking of the two leagues that are talking the loudest about this expansion, the Big Ten and the SEC, well, there has to almost be a separation. There almost has to be a way to delegate who's going to be ruled by a commissioner. I know we've joked about Josh Pate being the guy. How many teams are you going to ask him or anybody that's over this new league that they're trying to craft at this point with a CBA? Because that's the end game. It has to be the end game. The coaches can complain all they want to. The ADs and presidents can too. But if there's no end game to how this is going to evolve, then what are we arguing about? I'm with Elko. He's like, well, I'll just add more games if that's the case to the college football playoffs. But the question is there a lottery system that allows 30 to 45 teams in to be governed? Because if they are trying to get as close to the NFL model, that's the unique thing about it. There's only 32 teams in the NFL. You have to consider all Division I teams at this point, unless you're really going to have a separate league that has separate deals with TV companies at this point.
And it's easier to create competitive balance within the schedules and the grind that it takes to make the playoff when you have a smaller sample size. Right now, the burden with which James Madison and Tulane have to cross to make the college football playoff is drastically different from what Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas, and Vanderbilt as kind of those 4 bubble teams that the SEC had to reach last season. I mean, that's just the reality of it. The grinds are so different for so many different teams from different areas of the country to different conferences. And I understand coaches wanting the self-preservation aspect of how do I keep my job and how do we keep our place as a program within the proper place of college sports? Because you look at these schedules, there's not a place to rest in the SEC. There's not a place to take a sigh and say, okay, cupcake week.
Right.
This is homecoming game. All right, this is easy. You had the one SEC game, and you got a lot of SEC games for homecoming that all of a sudden are not the same level as the FCS teams that often come to town the week before you play your big rival in the month of November.
The big problem, though, to your point is it's 138 teams that have to be governed. How do you bring all of this in and say, this is how we're going to work it? Like, this ain't the AFC versus NFC. Travel means a whole lot. I think there are more East Coast teams than are West Coast teams when you look at this, too, when you split it up. How do you break this down? If you're trying to individually have 4 different national championships, I don't think anybody wants that. There is no real way to satisfy any conference, any coach, any school, in my personal opinion, with how they're going about doing this.
Unless you totally rip up the TV contracts and start over.
You think anybody's trying to split their money?
Nope.
And I was thinking in my head, and you said this a second ago, but we're the blame for this, like the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
Because
100%. Greg Sankey started all of this.
I enjoyed the conversation of, like, Texas can't play in the SEC, or Oklahoma, we kicked y'all behind. It's like, and then you went and brought them in. Like, I thought what the Big 12 had was real nice. The way it originally was, it almost feels the same way as it was about streaming, right, and cable. Like, cable now, looking at how much we're all paying, cable was fine. And then we said we wanted this section and this section. We don't have to break up everything is what I'm getting at. Like, I do like the addition of what Texas and Oklahoma became to the SEC, and Missouri before that as well. But when you look at how you try to find the end game to this, there is no end. It just isn't at this point. There's no consideration. Like, I'm looking at the list of 138 teams right now that are involved in this. Like, Fresno State is essentially in this conversation.
Not really, though.
But
they don't matter.
The representation. And that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
The way the conferences have been realigned, there are really about 50 teams that are actually being considered.
No, I know.
Yeah. Right.
But each one of these programs, Houston, Iowa, Jacksonville State, they all want the same rules. They all want a collective bargaining agreement.
Relatively same.
The issue is, how do you get all 138 under the same umbrella?
And to the point where all of them also are funding the other sports within their universities by the revenue with which they create in football. And now when you're having to pay more for your players and more for other stuff and more for travel, that's all of a sudden less for the other sports to profit off of what football makes. Football's not making as much as it used to.
They're deleting the pageantry of what we love about college football, in my opinion.
Oh, it's long been deleted.
I know it is.
100%.
But what use is Marshall to this conversation? None. But those players are still useful to this league and trying to pursue their hopes and dreams of making it to the NFL at some point, though, too, or become a college coach. Mm-hmm. That's what's being lost in all of this, is to chase for, as Elko said, like, we're making this a trophy league. Like, it's legitimately in a position of where everything that it once was is never again. I think it was Andy Sables that came in with us recently. That had the conversation, like, the game that you love is no longer the same. Like, the more we have this type of conversation, the more I'm realizing, what is the Vol Walk? These boys will leave UT and walk through the Grove. They'll go do a Tiger Walk at LSU like it's nothing. Like, so for the coaches and the ADs and the presidents and the chancellors that are asking for more, I don't know if we'll get to a point where the fans say no. But these rules that they're living by right now, I like the old school, man. Let me just send Granddaddy a Cadillac. Like, take me back to those days where 100,000 would take care of you for years to come, and don't ask for any more after this. And you can't leave the school anymore. Mm-hmm. The regulations have to happen. The rules have to be put in place. But again, when you look at the teams that actually have a real shot at winning a national championship, that list is small And the coaches that are talking the loudest right now are complaining to absolutely no one, in my personal opinion. They're lying to themselves.
The two conferences who represent the entire sport of college football, in all actuality, represent what, fourth? A quarter of the entire sport in terms of the actual schools?
Yeah.
They have 100% of the power. They are actually 25% of the total. And who gets to make all of the decisions?
And
Kirby Smart said yesterday, I've said this for a long time, I've been an advocate that if we can't find rules that everybody plays by, then we should play on our own. Said, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid to break away and say that our conference is strong enough to go out and play. If we could actually function financially, it would make our programs more stable. We could support things financially. I'm talking about all the other sports and do our own rules. I'd be all for that. Obviously not realistic, but
not realistic at all.
It fixes a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And again, like you can more act in the self-interests of your conference when all you have to worry about is your conference. And there are no consequences in how it impacts the other ones.
But he's also a part of the problem too, though. I mean, all coaches are, but like they've been giving out bags for a long time and poaching players too. Like,
oh yeah,
all of them have been playing this dirty game.
They're all surviving. The self-interests of 16 SEC schools and their commissioner. I feel like we in this part of the country act like the SEC is just blameless and innocent within all of this while the rest of the country is trying to figure it all out to catch up. Why are they trying to catch up? Because the SEC got so much money from ESPN, created such a powerhouse that it forced the Big Ten to raise their level and to go out and hunt for brands on the West Coast and build a super conference that now the SEC is trying to chase a little bit more because past 3 years it's been the Big Ten on top of college football and on top of more and more non-revenue sports as well. And sports like baseball and sports like women's basketball. They've always dominated the Olympic sports because they have the money, the weather on the West Coast to always have different warm weather sports year-round. The endowment for good academic institutions like UCLA, USC, and Stanford to be able to sponsor just more sports in general. Obviously, the climate, you put those two things together, you get more sports.
Yeah.
They've always been good at that. Now they're starting to take away baseball and women's basketball.
Yeah.
And men's basketball catching up in that regard as well. And they've always been good at that at that too. So all this started when Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. Craig Sankey has his own self-interest, and it's his job to serve the 16 institutions. What the difference now that's so interesting is that his self-interest as a conference and as a commissioner and as someone with a lot of TV dollars tied into things that he's helped negotiate, that no longer aligns with the interests of his coaches and of a lot of his athletic directors. Because he doesn't want a 2014 playoff. Danny White went on the record yesterday saying, I do. So that conflict and who wins is uncharted territory.
You know what's...
That's why this is not overhyped, the SEC spring meetings.
It's super messy.
Oh, my gosh.
We got more on this one.
Absolutely, it's messy. Coming up, Brad Hopkins joins us. He'll be a part of the team of sideline reporters you'll hear on Titans Radio this upcoming season. Love talking to Hoppy to get his thoughts on the Titans on a reworked offensive line. Coming up next. In this real estate market, you need a local agent with years of experience if you're buying or selling your home. You need Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. Don't rely on that national agent that doesn't know the area, doesn't really care about you, your goals. They're just checking off boxes, going down a list of things that they've got to do in order to go through this process. Bernie Gallerani allows you to create the boxes that you need checked. And here's the big one that he's going to check for you. Bernie Gallerani guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. There's no risk to you. He'll let you out of the contract at any time. Bernie Gallerani is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee. Your home's going to be sold. Otherwise, he'll just buy it from you. Check him out online at BernieGallerani.com or call him at 615-428-2644. Bernie has a heart for Middle Tennessee, so much so that he's given out his personal cell phone number, of course, with a 615 area code as well. 615-428-2644. Take that leap of faith with Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. Online at BernieGallerani.com. Ramon Will rolls on 104.5 The Zone, Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. As we bring in another Titans Radio sideline reporter for the 2026 Tennessee Titans season. He is former Titans tackle and Titans Radio's Brad Hopkins, kind enough to join us this morning. How does that sound, B-Hop? Titans Radio's Brad Hopkins. What's going on?
That's got a ring to it, don't it, Will?
Sure does.
Good to me. Yeah. How you gentlemen doing this
We're
morning?
good, man. Good morning, Brad.
We're good, man.
Good morning, Posty Force.
How does it feel? You ready to go? You excited? I know we got a little bit of time to wait still, but what are you feeling like as you get ready to hit the road with us and hit the sidelines this upcoming fall?
Yeah, there's no better feeling than after 20 years of retiring from the Tennessee Titans, getting back in the building in some form or capacity, right? I think that it's a wonderful opportunity, not only to kind of articulate what the guys are going through on the sideline and helping you guys in the booth, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun getting to know the players. It's going to be fun, getting to know me, just understanding coaching styles and the newness that's come on in the building, and what a better time, as we start to usher in a new era to be a part of the program. So I'm super excited.
Absolutely. I'm interested, too, in obviously having the expertise of you and Ramon as offensive linemen, and Ben Jones, who's going to be a part of the squad this season as well. It is an interesting time, Brad, as you know, for the guys up front and for the offensive line and trying to protect Cam Ward better, the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last season. What is that competition like up front for you, Brad, this time of year in OTAs? You don't have pads, you don't have full contact, but there's a lot of competition over at the facility right now for a spot on that first five.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the young guys that are brought in, Fernando Carmona and Pat Coogan, those guys might throw steals in the draft. Well, I'm thinking, I think they were definitely brought in to be competition for Austin Slotman and Cordell Volson, who have kind of limited playing experience as far as being a starter. But those are the biggest question marks that we're going to have in the interior. I don't think Peter Skoronski has anything to worry about. I expect a Pro Bowl year from him. J.C. Latham will have his second consecutive year playing right tackle, so there'll be some consistency that I think we'll have, that we'll have on that right side. Dan Moore, there might be another future draft pick that's going to take that spot, but at the end of the day, I think that he has to be able to handle that position better than he has in the past couple of seasons. So I'm not saying that there's going to be a competition for him in that job this year, but definitely looking towards the future, there'll be some changes. But I'm also excited about Carmen Brasillo. He's the offensive line coach that's there. And as Ramon and I were watching practice last week, we started to see some of that zone protection that he and I are both familiar with, that slide protection that pretty much has those guys protecting gaps versus being in one-on-one situations. I think that's going to be the best situation for them, because at the end of the day, there will be only one person that is in man situation that can then be helped by either a tight end or a running back. I just think it just helps the consistency of Brian Daboll's play calling if they can actually get on the same page, worry about spacing, worry about protecting the gap versus just blocking one man exclusively.
We're joined by Titans legend Brad Hopkins this morning, talking a little Titans football this morning. Hop, man, you watched the game intently. I feel like you're like me, man. Film is where you thrive, and you enjoy watching guys and breaking them down. I just want to know, what's your overall mindset in the state of offensive linemen in the league right now? Do you see it as rugged? You see it as more athletic, a little bit below the line, or where is it at with you and how you view the state of O-line across the league?
Ramon, when you and I were actually playing the game, I think it was really more about technique and that kind of consistency. Nowadays, it doesn't seem like they're getting the kind of coaching that we got.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from the time that they're actually able to delegate towards working on that technique, right? I think when you have shorter practice times, when you have even shorter practices themselves, it doesn't allow you to develop the skills that you need to have to be able to work up front. Because at the end of the day, offensive line is probably the most unique position because it's so interdependent on each other. You know what I'm saying? Like guards and tackles and centers, they need the complement of guys to their left or their right to actually be consistent. So they have to work almost like ballerinas in unison with one another, right? And that the only way that actually gets good is by repetition. And when you shorten that repetition, you actually shorten the output. You shorten the success that they can actually have in getting on the same page. Where I was talking about cohesion. Cohesion comes from those guys, getting the reps in practice, then getting the reps on Sunday that actually make them, qualified to be this unit that they need to be up front. So unfortunately, I think coaching is a premium. It sounds crazy to say that, but there's a reason why there's so many groups of linemen going someplace else outside of the facility and these franchises on a regular basis, especially in the offseason, to get good coaching. Why? Because they're not getting it in-house. I know that if I was an offensive line coach and I found out that my guys are pretty much going out of state to get good coaching, I would take that as a personal indictment. And that's a lot of situations that we see here in the National Football League nowadays. There are guys that are so unqualified to be offensive line coaches, yet they are, because they're familiar with whoever it is that's calling the offensive plays, that they're just now afforded that luxury. Well, guess who pays the price? Quarterbacks. Guess who pays the price? Running backs, the offense itself overall. So at the end of the day, I think that the lack of consistency comes from the shortened period of time you guys have to hone their craft.
It changed, Hop. I was on, I did 2-a-days for 2 years, and we kind of phased into like, hey, going a little bit shorter. Then it became a long walkthrough, and then it became 2 walkthroughs before the practice. And then it was just, instead of a 3.5-hour practice, it was just right at 2 hours and 50 minutes, like you losing all of that time, man. And here's the thing about it. I think the reason we clamor so much for the perennial guy as far as left tackle or right tackle, and how now defenses have, Hop, decided that, look, we're not just going to rush over the left tackle. We're going to go attack this right tackle as well. Were you surprised to kind of see that evolve? Because teams made an emphasis on the left tackle, and I feel like they forgot about the right tackle as of late and started rushing. Were you surprised by that much at all?
No. Think about this, though. You want to attack the most vulnerable parts of your offensive line. Now, when you look at blind side protectors versus the guy that's in front of his face, you usually have your best offensive lineman behind the quarterback, which is your left tackle, on average. Of course, there's some left-handed quarterbacks, and you just switch that up schematically in your brain. But when you look at the guy that's supposed to be more vulnerable, you want to put your best pass rusher on that guy, because you're more likely to win those battles versus running into a brick wall with the guy that's on the opposite, right? But also another thing we want to address is the physicality of the game. Think about that, Ramon. How often do we do 9-on-7 in practice? How often do we do one-on-ones, even from a run blocking standpoint, not let alone pass blocking? So you can't avoid the physicality of the game, but I also understand where you want to be able to hedge potential injury by not putting the guys in those type of situations. But how do you develop those calluses that you need to have to be good upfront protectors? You got to practice it. It's got to be physical. And I think ultimately when you see teams that commit to that, they actually perform better. But also, the guys know that those programs that have that kind of physical approach, you can either take the choice of being a part of it or not being a part of it. Yeah, you know what? I think I'll take this money over here where they don't do those kind of physical drills, right?
That's true.
At the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily make you a better offensive lineman, but you need to be able to address it. Right now, we're not going to know what this offensive line is until training camp. Why? Because that's when the helmets and shoulder pads come on. That's when we can truly see them matched up against the other side and see what their technique and their skill set looks like from a truly physical standpoint, because you can't escape the physicality in the trenches. It's impossible.
Former Titans tackle, Titans radio sideline reporter Brad Hopkins with us here this morning on Ramon and Will. Brad, what was your first impression seeing Carnell Tate work? I know made some plays at the Open OTA a week ago. What did you like just getting to see him for the first time?
Cover one ain't going to scare him. This guy right here, he's got a nice, smooth release. I don't know how many times we saw him running post routes and go routes with no one around him because he was able to get off that coverage and come a nice, smooth release. Now, that's against us, guys. I understand that. And I'm not taking shots at our corners, because he's going to go against some pretty damn good corners on Sundays. But for the most part, he won't be a valuable vertical threat for Cam Ward. I like his silky smooth ability to just kind of get up on the defenders sooner than they expect, because he has almost like that subliminal speed that you really don't see with those long strides. I like his basic contested catch win radius. This guy, man, he's got sticky hands, and he's also a smart player. I know that I'm getting ahead of my skis. I'm just so excited about what Carnell Tate can actually present for this offense, And I'm also excited about how Brian Daboll is going to use him. I think that creates the kind of balance that he wants to have. I think he's going to feature the run game a lot. I think we're going to be talking a lot about Tony Pollard. This cat has rushed for over 1,000 yards for the last 4 years. We'll start to see him be a feature. Why? Because there are going to be guys that have to pay attention in the secondary and can't stack the line of scrimmage to slow him down. So that balance and unpredictability, the play action type stuff, Cam Ward being on the move more so outside the pocket and getting those tough yards to make third down manageable, those are some of the things that Brian Daboll thinks is going to feature, and it starts with Carnell Tate.
Brad, what do you think makes Cam Ward such a good fit for this offense, where Brian Daboll was so encouraged to try to convince Mike Borgonzi at a Starbucks at the NFL Combine that he needed to trade the number 1 overall pick? Why do you think this system is so good for Cam Ward?
I think because he's a sponge, because he wants to learn, because he's the first guy to say, hey, look, you know what? I'm willing to do things the way that they need to be done to make these plays successful. And it doesn't necessarily, say it's my skill set that has to be featured first and foremost. I think he really is excited about what Brian Daboll can teach him about playing in the National Football League. I think it's just another level for him. I know he's only going into his second year. And his rookie year was okay, but there's a lot of newness that he had to go against. There's a lot of thinking that was going on in his process. Once he masters this offense and makes it his own, I'm just really excited to see him just play so comfortably and loose, and better yet, fast. We always talk about offenses playing fast. Offenses can't play fast unless you're familiar and comfortable with what you're doing. And once he gets to that level, through Brian's mentoring and through, obviously working with the receivers and an offensive line that will know his habits and where he's at, then you can start to see him kind of really, make those plays consistently that make him a more dangerous quarterback. So I just love his ability to want to learn. And the physical part of it, the guy's got a cannon. You know what I mean? And he's not going to be Lamar Jackson by any stretch. I think he'll be more Patrick Mahomes, and his ability to kind of avoid the pass rush, get those tough yards when need be, have the decision-making that either A, gets the ball out of his hands or allows him to, with his feet, create these manageable down and distances that allow them to stay on the football field. That's what smart quarterbacks do, and I think he's tracking towards that nicely.
Hoppy, I have to ask you about the offensive line just in general, man, and one guy in particular. But how huge is it? How important is it for J.C. Latham to have a big third year?
Yeah, I put it this way: his rookie option is coming up, whether they decide to take him in that 5th-year option or not. And this year is going to say a lot about that, right? But I do think, I do believe that his skill set is getting better, and the fact that he'll finally. Once he finds his right guard, the guy that is going to be his wingman, the guy that he can trust going into the season, and they start developing a rapport, I don't think that you'll see J.C. Latham be a liability in this offense. I know he's kind of had some ups and downs, been very polarizing when it comes to where he's at as a tackle. But I like the fact that he's going to come into this year in shape. I like the fact that he's going to come into this year healthy, which is another aspect of it, and consistent, because he'll be having to play the same spot for back-to-back years. That means something to me. Is it important for him to play well? Of course it is. Because just like we mentioned earlier about right tackles being attacked by the best pass rusher, if they view J.C. Latham as a liability, they're going to go to him. Sure. I don't think they're going to spend much time on that right side, though. I think they're going to spend as much time as they possibly can on the left, from the outside.
Absolutely.
Brad Hopkins, our guest this morning here on Ramon and Will. Brad, we are so excited to have you part of the Titans radio team. We are pro offensive linemen in media, of course, because you guys protect everything that goes on an offense, so you know everything that's going on offense. We are pumped. We've got a great team put together. We're going to have a blast this fall.
I can't tell you how excited I am to join you fellas, and you guys have a great show, okay?
Yes,
Appreciate it, Hop.
Thank you, Brad.
Later,
Talk to you soon.
All right. See you later.
Yeah.
All right. Brad Hopkins with us here this morning, talking a little bit of offensive line. Security also as we walk into NFL stadiums.
No doubt about it. I'm looking forward to these trips with him, man. But just working with him in general, the back and forth that I think this broadcast is going to be able to have, because having the former player component on the field, up top, and just your knowledge that you bring to this thing as well. I tell everybody, Will's a friggin' encyclopedia when it comes down to this stuff. Don't even say anything, just receive, okay?
Thank you.
But that's the uniqueness of what this broadcast team is right now. And Hoppy brings a lot of old school conversation, the same as I do at times, but his knowledge of how he sees the game is slightly different from mine because he played tackle. And it's going to be a fascinating approach to bringing this thing all the way together. And I'm excited for him and just everybody involved with this.
Coming up, totally agree with all that, 100%.
No doubt.
Love it. Cannot wait to get started. Coming up, SEC coaches talking to Brett McMurphy in Destin at SEC meetings. Something we'll spend more time on tomorrow, but worth hitting that just came out about 45 minutes ago. Why some SEC football coaches felt misled by the conference. Interesting stuff we'll dive into coming up next. Wrapping up hour 3 this morning on Ramon and Will. Rip Bryan coming up in 15 minutes. Have you subscribed to the Ramon and Will podcast? Because if you haven't, we're not mad. We're just disappointed.
It's okay to do the right thing these days.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the best places to go. 1045thezone.com. Wherever podcasts are sold for free, that's where we're selling ours for free. And you help us by hitting subscribe and downloading every interview, every hour of every show.
Tell them, Will.
Including the 5 members of Titans Radio you get on the show this morning.
You might even burn a calorie doing it, okay? Or just passing it to somebody else, texting it to somebody else like, hey, you should check this out. It's okay to do right, like do good things. ELE, everybody love everybody.
That's exactly right.
Do the right thing.
New from Brett McMurphy this morning at on3.com. SEC coaches say they were misled about the 9-game schedule and 16-team playoff.
Oh.
As a 9th SEC game is added in 2026, John Summerall, one of those coaches who literally his old Tulane gear isn't even not warm yet as he drops it off at Goodwill. Hasn't even coached an SEC game yet. Quote, talking to the other coaches, they felt like by going to 9 games, they felt like it would shift the playoff model to 16, but it didn't. They felt misled. They felt misled. Teacher, my friend over there thinks we should get 10 more minutes of recess. I don't. I want to come back to class, but they want to stay outside and play. They want to have class outside, actually, too, if we can do that.
No doubt.
Eli Drinkwitz says the discussion was about going to an 8 or 9 game schedule at the beginning of his time at the SEC. Says, I remember being so anxious, thinking, when are we going to discuss this? And it took us 6 years to get to 9 games. He says, I remember last year we were told if we went to 9 games, the Big Ten would vote for a 16-team playoff in 2026, and I think we're still at a 12-team playoff.
The more they talk, the more I dislike them. Because I actually watched this episode last night. It's the Madman. Like, that's what the money for. That's what we give you money for, is to go out and coach. We give you money to go out and recruit.
And even better, sometimes, Ramon, we give you money to get fired.
Yes.
To not coach.
That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all win regardless. Like, the more they talk, the more I want to say to them, shut up. Like, players are put in these positions all the time when it comes to coach. Man, I don't know if this is going to be possible for me. Go do it anyway. A player has to add 10 pounds before the season. Coach, I've never done. Do it anyway. Like, live by your own words in this world that you're speaking of right now. I'm hearing a lot of complaining from guys that are highly compensated and chose this pathway for them. So what if it goes from 8 to 9 games? Well, guess what? What about if in years past you scheduled Notre Dame, you scheduled Ohio State, you scheduled Michigan, you scheduled UCLA? You weren't complaining because you don't have the cupcake games that you once had. Like, the longer we've had this conversation about these coaches complaining, the more I feel like fire them already. Find somebody that's up for the task. Like the way Kirby Smart has done it, or the way they allowed Ryan Day to just walk in when I feel like he was more fired than hired at the time and create what he's got at Ohio State. Beat him. That's the end game. Like, that's sports to me. Like, we've been just harping on, hey, we're done with the just giving everybody a medal era, like the participation trophy era. The coaches are acting like that's what they want. You want the cupcake games? Okay, I get it. Everybody's looking for a break in their schedule. Also, coach your behind off is what I'm asking you to do. Mm-hmm. This complaining, like, you can't cry from the yacht. You just can't cry from the yacht in Destin right now. Nobody wants to hear this moving forward.
Eli Drinkwitz goes on to say, holistically from college football, we have gone from determining who the undisputed national champion is to really becoming valuable entertainment on Saturdays. Those 9 league games are going to be awesome. Original intent for why we discussed going to 9 games is no longer applicable. A lot of that conversation for a 4-year cycle to play on everyone's campus, that ain't happening. A lot of that has changed over the course of time. 9 games is going to be a very, very difficult challenge in the SEC. It will be a unique challenge. I could argue we've actually done the opposite.
Yeah.
We've gone further away from undisputed national champion to only really become We've gone to having an easier route to who's the best team at the end of the season, because now teams like Ohio State, when they lose in Week 13 to Michigan, they get a get-out-of-jail-free card.
They do.
Of a home playoff game and then a Rose Bowl and a water slide into the national championship game they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Facts.
And in return, Saturdays have less value than they used to. And that's at 12 teams. And I'm okay with 12 teams. I was always a proponent of a 12-team college football playoff because it felt like it would help flatten the curve of the amount of teams that could win the national championship. Not just because of the playoff. NIL has made a major impact within that. Larger television revenue in the Big Ten has had a major impact on more teams being able to have a legitimate seat at the table. It's not just the 12-team playoff. The 12-team playoff is the smoked paprika.
Yeah.
With the garlic powder, with the salt and the pepper that makes your cracked chicken seasoning. So it's not the only thing. It has helped. What we do with 24 teams is we move to a world where teams could be sitting their starters who are 50-50 in rivalry games. That's the world we could be looking at, because then we become, as Mike Elko said, a trophy sport. It's all about the trophy you get at the end of the season. It's less about college football Saturdays. College football is great because of college football Saturdays on campuses.
Facts.
It is not great because of a bowl game or a neutral site game or a game in Europe or a game in South America that allows you to have more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Like the revenue part of it is so secondary to college football fans want to watch college football games on college football campuses on college football Saturdays and beat their rivals. That's the essence, to me. I don't know if it is for you. I think it is, of what makes this sport the absolute greatest.
I used to feel like there was a sense of pride to your point of playing on campus. And, like, the college game ticket, like, wasn't as expensive as they've made it. Like, you had the ability to go in and support it because – and also didn't have a problem with buying into it because you felt like the amateurism was still there. Like, you're not getting that facet of it anymore. It's become more professional than I feel like the professional league. And what's crazy about it, there's more complaining at the college level than it is at the NFL level. That's what bothers me about this process more than anything. Like, expand it. Do whatever you guys got to. But at some point in time, y'all are going to have to start just coaching. Like, it is what it is.
Alex in Nashville wants to talk playoff expansion. What's up, Alex?
Morning, Alex.
Morning, gents. Hey, I don't understand what the hold-up or the hesitancy of the playoff expansion, especially from the people who just say, hey, it's not feasible with academics and all this other stuff. There's roughly, give or take, a handful of teams. There's the same amount of Division I teams as there is FCS teams. And the FCS format has had a 24-team playoff for years. It was 12, then it was 16, then it was 24. And it works great. It gives parity for new teams to come up and make a run. There's blue bloods, obviously more blue bloods in FCS than there is in Division I college football. The model is there. There's obviously different tweaks. I'm not saying go to 24, but to expand to 16, again, the concept is proven. There's more conferences. More people have an opportunity. I don't understand why they just don't try to model a little bit more after the NCAA FCS playoff system.
That is a great question, Alex, and I will disprove it for you with 3 words. Conference championship games. That's the difference. It's not a television revenue generator in FCS football. It is in FBS football. In order to take the step towards going to more teams, you're going to have to do away with conference championship games that make millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for conferences and have television contracts. That is the number one hurdle that you've got to overcome there. The second one for me, and you could probably argue a little bit more on this, but the difference between the haves and have-nots and the teams that are making the decisions in FBS football is greater than that difference in FCS. It's just not as equal of a playing field. So why should, I don't know, you mentioned Fresno State earlier.
Yeah,
Fresno State's needs just aren't really cared for here because Fresno State's not really a part of it. Like you are closer to describing really the reason for a G5 playoff than you are for a Power 4 playoff,
yeah,
because Power
yeah.
4 football is just a different beast in terms of television revenue, in terms of travel, in terms of all these different things that something's got to give. And the biggest reason why it works for FCS and not FBS is because of the conference championship game part of it.
And I don't think the FBS wants to share. I don't think they want to share that much. They don't.
Nobody wants to share.
That's the other biggest issue too. They don't want to split the pie that much.
Yeah,
as far as overall revenue.
Really, it's just the SWAC that has an FCS championship game. And the tradition that comes with that for HBCUs, for the SWAC, for those historic rivalries.
Yep.
I mean, the Dakotas play their rivalry in championship games just in the Final Four or in the national championship.
Yeah.
And there isn't really a lot of parity either, to that other point. There's not parity at all. I mean, it's North Dakota State or South Dakota State or Montana that's winning the championship every year. So I appreciate the call, Alex. I understand why you arrive at that question at that point, but the hurdle to cross here is the conference championship game part of it. And Craig Sankey said earlier this week, and we're pretty tied to it. We got a contract. What I again think, and just to give my solution, if I'm going to give a problem, I feel like I got to give the solution to it before we get Rhett in here.
Because he's at the door.
The solution, Ramon, is have a play-in round and have multiple games, conference championship weekend, where Friday night, you're playing 3 versus 6.
Yeah.
Saturday, you're playing 4 versus 5. And Saturday night in primetime, you decide 1 versus 2 in the SEC championship. And you decide 4 automatic bids that weekend. And the teams that don't get those automatic bids can battle it out. 1 and 2 make it. The winner of 3 versus 6, the winner of 4 versus 5 make it. There's your 4 automatic bids from the SEC. The rest of you are on your own. Then you still create that revenue.
Yeah.
But again, that isn't a 16-team model that you do that, and you give 4 automatic to the SEC and Big Ten.
I just heard lawsuit after lawsuit coming for the other conferences if they are not able to do the G5 playoffs, though, too.
The biggest winner? Lawyers.
There we go.
Coming up.
You worry about AI, become a lawyer.
Rhett Bryan joins us next.
It's Ramon Foster from Medical House Calls, where it's healthcare designed for your life, and they mean that, good people. They're available to you 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. They have same-day appointments available to you, next day guaranteed. I'm huge on your health, man, when it comes down to just checking on those silent issues that you may have. And here's what Medical House Calls can give you a little bit of comfort when it comes down to it. For a flat fee, you can get an evaluation, full exam treatment plan, and prescriptions if you need it. And this isn't just a regular tech that's showing up. No, these are real doctors and nurses that are showing up to your house to take care of you. It can be a broken bone they got you taken care of. It could be the flu or persistent illness that's been going on for a time. Also, if you're just feeling fatigued or got difficulty focus or being productive, well, guess what? They can also just come over and administer you a IV to get you right back to you. I've personally used that service for myself. They came to my house, I felt a sickness coming on, gave me the IV, and boom, I was right back in the mix, okay? The website is medicalhousecalls.com, or you can call or text them at 615-838-2375.
Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NFL news this morning. The 49ers and quarterback Mac Jones agreed to a revised contract for this season, adding a $300,000 roster bonus. Jones is now set to make $3.55 million in 2026, with another $2.25 million available in incentives. Jones is scheduled to hit free agency next March. Other NFL news yesterday, the Chargers and safety Derwin James agreed to a 3-year, $75.6 million contract extension that make him the highest paid safety in the NFL. NBA Western Conference Finals Tuesday night. The Thunder take Game 5 and the 3-2 series lead over the Spurs, winning 127-114. The Thunder now are one win away from a return trip to the NBA Finals. Game 6 is Thursday night in San Antonio. To the NHL with their playoffs, the Golden Knights beat the Avalanche 2-1 to complete the 4-0 series sweep and win the Western Conference Finals. Tuesday night, Vegas returns to the Stanley Cup Final for the third time in their history and first since 2023 when they won the Cup. Vegas now awaits the Eastern Conference winner between the Hurricanes and Canadiens. Game 4 tonight in Montreal. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock. Carolina leads that series 2-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour and fourth quarter of Wednesday mornings. Ramon and Will in studio on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. We put fours up for the fourth quarter of the show as we go into the final 60 minutes because this show plays its best ball in the fourth quarter. And today we have fives up for the fifth member of Titans Radio to be on this radio program this morning. Mark Mariani was in hour 2. Brad Hopkins was in hour 3. Myself and Ramon Foster in every hour. And Rhett Bryant,
yes, sir,
the executive producer of Titans Radio, is here for hour number 4. What's up? How we doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, gentlemen?
We're good.
We're solid, Rhett.
Excellent.
Yes.
We've had a lot of excitement from putting moonshine in our coffee, figuratively, downstairs bosses, with Mark Mariani on with us at 7:20. Brad Hopkins adding to our offensive line expertise.
B-Hop.
And we're going to have a lot of expertise on the sidelines for Titans Radio this year, Rhett. I know you're fired up just like we are.
It'll be good. It will be good, and a good way to celebrate the last season, the farewell season of current Nissan Stadium. That was the thought behind that, and I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to hear these guys do their thing. B-Hop's got the most broadcast experience, but I have a sneaky suspicion Ben Jones and Mark Mariani are going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm there with you as well. And like I said, I know we joke around with Moonshine about his level of hypeness, but legitimately, the way I think he's going to report is going to be fun, and how he sees stuff too. We might as well just let him do the play-by-play on like special teams.
That's you read my mind, because I'm going, you know what? I want to hear him do a report right after Chimere Dike has a 72-yard punt return or whatever. Well, maybe we don't, because
fired up.
We don't have a delay running in the game. Maybe he gets a little carried away. But yeah, he brings such excitement. He's always been electric, just an electric personality. So
I love it.
Good.
Yes, I'm excited to be working with him, man. He's always been super cool and brings it every single time.
Fun be on the practice field last week. You guys were holding it down and watching the open OTA practice for the media. Rhett, what stood out to you watching a new group of Titans and a new look of uniforms, the new head coach, a new coaching staff at the newly named Vanderbilt Health Football Center last week?
Well, here's the first thing. It was a friends and family day, and one of the offensive linemen, Titans offensive lineman, Drew Moss, his fiance was there watching in practice. His fiance is Brock Lesnar's daughter.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
What's her name? Maya, I think. She was
I think that's right.
track star at Colorado State.
Oh, even better.
Because I'm like walking up, and Taylor Zarza goes, you know who that is, right? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. You knew it instantly when
Absolutely.
you saw it. Yeah, absolutely.
He said, I would be
man.
disappointed if you didn't. I said, yeah, it's Brock Lesnar's daughter.
Nice.
Yep, absolutely was. Super cool, man. It was family and friends. I had the kids out there. That's always the best thing, too.
Oh, yeah.
Let the kids see what dad does,
Absolutely.
man. That's a good time. Then we got a chance to see Carnell in real life.
Yeah, and listen, I hear Dave McGinnis, don't be an IE, don't be an instant evaluator. But in one OTA practice, like, okay, that's good. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like that a lot. Yep, number 4 overall pick. I think he had 3 TDs in that practice. But yeah, you see why. You see the separation he's able to create. And again, it's just an OTA practice. But first impressions, strong.
Yeah. That's the way I felt about him, too. The scouting report, as far as his hands go, you saw that. That was on display in warm-ups. That was on display during the 11-on-11 stuff. He catches the ball with his hands. His ability, to get down the field, I thought was super unique, Rhett. He can get behind defenses. I know everybody's, he runs a 4.5. Well, I've seen some 4.3 guys that don't look like it at times because they can't get off the line of scrimmage. This young fella can go and get it, can beat you because he's big enough at the line of scrimmage on press situations. And Hoppy said it earlier, too, he was like, he's smooth. It's almost deceiving the way he moves at times.
The other standout to me was the 60th overall pick, second rounder, Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker, who, by the way, had a pick 6 towards the end of that practice.
Yeah, he did. And, boy, his baseball slide on that pick was freaking phenomenal, too, wasn't it? That was some good stuff, man. That's instinct.
But you can understand that pick as well. The one thing I did notice about him is he is leaner than I envisioned.
Yeah.
But they'll make that right. They'll get him staying in that building, getting on the program. He'll add some more functional strength. But, yeah, there's a couple of rooks there. And then the other thing, throwing some pretty footballs. I mean, Cam Ward, but you know who threw some pretty footballs was Will Levis.
Yeah, he did.
He can spin it now.
He can spin it. That's the beauty of it. Like we had a conversation yesterday with somebody, and I was just like, the narrative around Will Levis is unfair. Like, he can play football. The way he jumped out onto the scene was probably one of the worst things that happened for him in that Atlanta game, because chasing that is hard. Sustaining that is even harder, too. And when you look at his ability to play ball, he can. Slowing it down for him may be a better advantage for his career moving forward than to say, hey, here's the ball, just go and play football, because there's a lot of growth and adjustment that has to happen at that position specifically. Like, it is a quarterback-driven league. And Will Levis found out the hard way.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other part of it, too. Like, being a non-first rounder makes you have to grow up very quickly, because you're always more equally replaced when it's a premium position like quarterback. Like, they'll look over your shoulders quickly if you're not a first-round draft pick at any of those positions. Quarterback, DN, corner, like, you got to hit quickly if you're a non-first rounder.
No, you're right. And pass rusher, you add to that.
Absolutely.
Those
Pass
are the
rusher.
four.
Yep,
those are the
absolutely.
4. Here's the thing. I can see him take a path very similar to what Malik Willis is doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because a guy can play. It's the touch. Where does the ball go?
I agree.
That's where and that's fair or unfair, but I mean, there's only a handful of starts. Was it 9 starts? Something like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, that's a smaller sample size. But yeah, it was good to get back on the practice field and see these guys kind of come together and just see what it's about, and looking forward to another one.
You mentioned guys slimming down, and obviously the big headline coming out of the practice was Cam Ward talking about losing about 10 pounds and wanting to be more durable, wanting to move in the pocket a bit more quickly. Could you tell a big difference watching him and just looking at him out there without pads on?
I mean, as far as just dropping 10 lbs, I don't know if that drastically affected any of his mobility, because he was spinning it and moving around. Just when you saw him get up close, you can see it in his face, you can see it in his chin. It's some of the stuff that the social media team had put out in reels several weeks ago when the offseason started. And I think it was probably phase 1, early phase 2. And they had him, and I'm like, you could see then, I'm like, different. His chest,
Yeah.
his pec muscles look different. His face looked different. I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
he's getting into the building, taking advantage of that part of it, which is good.
Those types of things have to happen, though. Like, the transformation has to happen for younger guys. Like, I think it's one of the things we spoke about when it comes down, like, guys like Tavondre or even JC. You remember JC had the bigger transformation last year as well. Like, the evolution of becoming a pro is a beautiful process if you buy into it. Like, those 10 pounds ain't a lot for Cam, but it is for his play. It is for his confidence to see that, hey, like, I can get to a point to make my body do what I want it to do, and especially if it starts to help him. He spoke about pushing the pocket up or pushing up in the pocket. Like, if he feels those 10 make him more agile or make him more elusive the way guys can grab onto him while also staying strong, like, those are the next steps that guys have to take in their careers, because what you did in year one will not whet my appetite the same way. It's just,
well, let's say this, too. For the old head in the building, Jeffrey Simmons, ask him what it did for him, being the older guy in all of that group.
Yeah.
So, look, that's, again, the essence of learning how to be a pro is to take advantage of the resources and using, the discipline and application to make those things work. Be driven to do those things in order to make yourself the best performer you can be, and more importantly for your team and your teammates.
Rhett Bryan, the executive producer of Titans Radio, in studio with us. We are going division by division, taking a look at off-season additions, subtractions, and draft classes. And we shift to the AFC North coming up next. Ramon Will continues on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, and Rhett Bryant in studio with you. Moving on to the AFC North, another full division the Titans will see in its entirety in the 2026 season. Now, obviously, we know when and we've known where you will see each of these teams that are very near and dear to our hearts, and Rhett to the cold part of our hearts, because these are old school AFC Central rivals that will be coming back to town.
Yes. Harken the day.
Hey.
That's exactly right. Including the final ever opponent, barring playoffs, in current Nissan Stadium, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh
Week 17.
Steelers. Let's go in alphabetical order, please, sir. I'd like to start with the Baltimore Ravens, a.k.a. the Ratbirds.
That was the first team I had on my list as well. Let's do it.
Indeed. So the biggest need for these guys before and after the draft was an offensive center, because they lost Tyler Linderbaum to the Raiders.
Yeah. Yes, they did for a lot.
They signed Danny Pinter, but there's still the belief in Baltimore that that's still the biggest need. Will you check something for me, Will, and see if Ethan Posick is still a free agent? Because I think that may be the route they go. The former Cleveland Brown going.
Have one of those agreements set is what you're telling me.
Yeah, wink, wink, nod, nod.
Wink, nod, nod. I'll wait on you if you wait on me type of situation.
Ethan Posick is a name that I just misspelled. So let's see. Ethan Posick.
P-O-C-I-C.
Yeah,
I got it.
P-O-C-I-C.
He tore his Achilles, though.
I believe he is still out there.
When did he tear his Achilles?
I got that date at around 6 months ago.
Okay, well, maybe not. That's not the answer. So they
against the Titans, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure did.
That's right.
Yep.
So they lost Cooper Rush at quarterback, Keaton Mitchell at running back. Patrick Ricard went to the Giants. That's
Yes,
a big
did.
one.
Yes,
Literally.
did.
Charlie Kolar and Isaiah Likely left in free agency.
He went
That
to the
left-
Giants, too.
That's correct.
Likely.
So tight end was a big deal there. I mentioned Linderbaum, Kyle Van Noy, and I think he's still floating around as a free agent
Yes.
and may actually flirting with retirement word. Draymond Jones, Jordan Stout, their punter, went to the Giants. So they bring in Tyler Snoop Huntley back, re-signed 2-year, $11 million contract. Skylar Thompson also signed. Durham Smythe at tight end. I mentioned Danny Pinter at center. At center. How about Calais Campbell?
Yeah.
Nearly 40 years old and signs with the Ravens.
Get it.
Just the guy's a genetic freak. And then you look at their draft. Vega Wane was their first pick at 14 overall. By many regarded as the best offensive lineman in this draft, regardless of position. Big Vega is, or Venga, I believe is how it's pronounced, is a machine.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he just go look at the tape at State College. Didn't allow many sacks, didn't allow many pressures, and just kept in there grinding. Pick 2, round 2, pick 45, Zion Young, edge, Missouri.
A Baltimore Raven.
100%. Big, long dude like that. Absolutely. Then in round 3, pick 80, they take a big wide receiver with some question marks about consistency in Jacoby Lane from Southern Cal. Big 6'4" receiver. So that's interesting. They doubled down on that in round 4, pick 115, and take one of the more reliable receivers in this draft, in Elijah Surratt. Waffle House, open 24/7, Indiana national champion. They had a need at tight end because I mentioned they lost Charlie Kolar and Isaiah Likely in free agency. So they draft Matthew Hibner from SMU in round 5. And then they had 3 5th-round picks. They took Josh Cuevas from Alabama.
Yeah.
The other tight end in there. Absolutely. And they actually drafted a punter, Ryan Eckley from Michigan State in round 6, pick 211. Don't sleep on this pick for a Ravens selection, and that is in round 7, pick 250, Rayshawn Benny from Michigan.
Okay.
He's a D tackle, but he's a pass rusher also. Don't sleep on that one. That is definitely a Ravens style pick. So that's kind of them in a nutshell in this. I mean, they had some needs in certain places. I'll be interested to see what it works out with as far as the center position on the offensive line. I think they did pretty well otherwise. And obviously the biggest story is their head coach of nearly 2 decades is not there anymore. He's the head coach of the New York Giants.
Yeah, a lot of newness with them.
Corey Bullock, I think, would be the name at the moment. 24-year-old from Maryland. Who would be slated in that role at the moment. But, yeah, you mentioned Ronnie Stanley, Vega Ioane, Bullock, John Simpson, and Roger Rosegarden, another young player at right tackle. Because Daniel Falele also followed John Harbaugh to the New York Giants.
That's right.
As another interior lineman. Andrew Voorhees, the guy who famously did the crazy bench press with a torn ACL at the Combine a few years ago after hurting his knee and training at a USC within that group as well. But interesting to see what they look like by the time the Titans get there. Another team that you'll see early. Not
to be confused with Jason Voorhees. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I thought it. Yeah, I thought it.
Undergoing a good bit of changes. All right, continuing alphabetically, that would bring us to the Cleveland Browns, Red.
The Cleveland Browns, well, actually, wouldn't that mean the Cincinnati Bengals if we're going alphabetically?
I thought Cincinnati too, Will.
Yep. You're
Okay,
right. I didn't know if we were going. I was thinking the B in Browns, but then again, that also Ravens wouldn't have been first if it had been going off.
But
of
Bengals
nickname.
Would still be.
Yeah.
Yep. No. 0 for 2. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. I got a 2-strike approach here.
Got him.
A lot of people in Cincinnati believe that the linebacker is still the biggest need for this club. So let's take a look at the departures. Jake Browning goes to Tampa. Noah Fant, the tight end, is gone. Lucas Patrick, the guard. Cordell Volson comes to the Tennessee Titans. Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens. That's the biggest one out of there. Cam Taylor-Britt, the corner, goes to Indianapolis. Geno Stone, the safety, goes to the Bills. Cameron Sample goes to the 49ers. So there's some of the departures. The guys they signed. Joe Flacco re-signed a 1-year, $6 million deal, max value of $9 million, to back up Joe Burrow. Josh Johnson, who has played for nearly every team in the league.
Sure
It
has.
is amazing.
Yeah. Can you imagine his jersey wall at home, man?
Well, when I think of guys like him, I think of, and this is old school all-star baseball talk here, since we're getting closer to the all-star break.
Yep.
When they would have the old-timers game, like Gaylord Perry, the pitcher, would come out, and he would have a uniform that would have patches from like the however many teams he played for. It'd be something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Orlando Brown Jr., 2-year, $32 million extension. So that's one side of the line. They re-signed guard Dalton Reisner. They signed edge Boye Mafe. 3-year, $60 million deal. And that was to try to supplement what they'd lost in Hendrickson.
And also added Jonathan Allen as well, too, on a nice deal, too, for $25 million.
They sure did. That's exactly right. And then they straight up traded the 10th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence in the middle of that defensive line.
Sexy Dexter.
Which is, one of those things that was arguably what the biggest need was. They took care of that. A lot of people in Cincy say it's still linebacker in that. They signed safety Brian Cook to a 3-year, $40 million deal for the back end of that. And Kyle Duggar, the safety, signed a 1-year contract. So there's those things, comings and goings. And as it pertains to the draft, well, what did I do? Oh, here you go. Cassius Howell, edge from Texas A&M at round 2, pick 41, because they had traded the 10th overall pick to the New York Football Giants. They took Takario Davis, the big long corner from Washington, in round 3, pick 72. And a guy you mentioned a lot, Will, in the pre-draft process, Connor Lew from Auburn, the big offensive lineman that was coming off of and still coming off of injury in there. Jack Hendries, the tight end from Texas. Another sleeper pick for them is Landon Robinson, the big D tackle from Navy, their last pick at 226. Don't sleep on that one either. Look, it's this simple for them. Can the offensive line protect Joe Burrow? And can Joe Burrow stay upright to throw it to Jamar Chase and company? And here we are. Like, that's what this is in a nutshell, because it sounds like a lot of the defensive needs that they addressed.
It is. That's going to be the biggest question. He might be top 3 in the league, Joe Burrow, but he can't finish the season. This offensive line got to piece it together as best they possibly can. I do think the Dexter Lawrence trade is going to help them immensely. But again, when it boils down to what everybody's expecting out of them, it is, can he go back to that 2021, 2022 Joe Burrow where he took them to the Super Bowl? He and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is also stuck in. I mean, they've also been signed. So they're set as far as a team. It's a matter of, can they survive the AFC North and the AFC in general, because each division's got a real good quarterback. I mean, just think about who the AFC got to go up against this year. Yep. With Joe Burrow being a part of that as well.
Well, no doubt. This is one of those things, too, and you could point to several different divisions in the league, the AFC South being another one that the Titans belong to.
Yeah.
You don't really know what you're going to get out of this division this year, because there is no John Harbaugh in Baltimore. We know who the main characters are there. And then another one, your former coach, Coach T, is no longer the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely not.
The one team that didn't make a coaching change was Cincinnati, and there's several people that think that should have changed.
That's what I was going to say.
So you just don't know what you're going to get, because, listen, this is the old black and blue division. They beat each other up. Oh. You know it. You lived it.
And to your point, like, the inclusion part of what's happening in the AFC North is Zach Taylor's on deck. If he doesn't go out and win this year, it'll be easy for them to try to find this replacement.
Yep.
It is just crazy that the one team that returns its head coach in this division is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Zach Taylor, the only coach that's back.
You expect it with Cleveland, because Cleveland's been trying to find their footing for quite some time.
That's true.
But the rest, it is. When you look at the whole picture, like, whoa, wait a minute.
For sure.
And may have been closer than we know behind closed doors, that it's a clean sweep and there's 4 new coaches in this division versus what it is.
Well, I know that Cleveland come next in the alphabet ahead of Pittsburgh. There is no doubt about that. The Browns did a lot to help out a crowded quarterback room. Let's put it that way.
I was hoping you gave one of them a name. I'm like, which one are you picking out of that quarterback room?
Deshaun Watson.
We good.
That's who they're picking from everything that we've read.
Is that not wild?
Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Until I think otherwise. I mean, the owners talk about how he could be the greatest story and rebound project in the league.
Well, let me say this.
I don't know.
And I wish no ill will on Deshaun Watson, because I don't wish any ill will on any players playing the game. Let me say this, though. The most Cleveland thing ever is for him to go out, trot out there, and at some point get hurt, and that's the end of it.
Again. And I
give it slim chances to be the redemption story that they're preaching about and trying to posture, if you will.
We're talking redemption as far as his injuries go, or his career?
Just the albatross of injuries, career, and the massive $200+ million guarantee in the trade.
Okay, righting that wrong.
That really is maybe the worst deal in league history.
Yeah. It's absolutely.
Certainly in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing about your preamble to that, Will, is who protects the quarterback? Well, they were the earmark in this draft. It's like, wait a minute, go into free agency and draft. They didn't have anybody under contract. All 5 of their starters were up for debate. And let's look at the departures first. Wholesale changes on the offensive line. Jack Conklin gone.
Mm-hmm.
Cornelius Lucas, Cam Robinson, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller goes to the Texans. Ethan Posick, we just mentioned, is injured. So there's 5 starters right there.
Yeah, it's a totally new group.
David Njoku, who had previously spent his entire career with the Cleveland Browns, goes out west to play for the Los Angeles Chargers. Travion Williams is gone. Jerome Brown goes down the road to play for the Commanders in Washington. Mahmoud Diabate is now a big, long linebacker / hybrid corner type thing that playing for the Tennessee Titans. Devin Bush goes to the Bears. I mean, they had a mass exodus of a lot of stuff, but that offensive line was the big deal. So we look at what they did to reconstruct said offensive line. Well, they traded with the Houston Texans of 2026 fifth-round pick and took longtime Texan Titus Howard, who in the previous season had played 3 different positions and had played multiple positions along that line his whole career there. New 3-year, $63 billion extension. Guard Tevin Jenkins re-signed with the Browns. I guess had been in reserve and swing. Zion Johnson, 3-year, $49.5 million deal. Elton Jenkins, 2-year, $24 million deal, 20 guaranteed. So there's a bit of the new look of the offensive line. I'll go to the others that they signed in here. Tylan Wallace, Jack Stoll, Michael Burton, Julian Okwara, Sam Kamara, Quincy Williams, the linebacker, Miles Bryant, Daniel Thomas, and Corey Bojorquez, the punter they re-signed. Let's go to their draft, because they doubled down on the offensive line stuff.
As far as talent goes, they got a real good draft this year.
Yeah, because they started with Spencer Fano.
And maybe for a second straight year, too, because I don't think they had a bad draft last year.
It wasn't bad last year either. They got the Defensive Rookie of the Year as a second rounder last year.
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Got a good little thing over there.
So at pick 9, round 1, Spencer Fano, tackle, Utah.
Oh.
Which, by many was considered the best tackle in this draft.
Yep.
And with what they have and brought in versus what they lost, I mean, if you're taking him there, you're going to start him at tackle, but he can move inside. He's athletic enough.
Yeah.
He can do that. And then they had a second first-round pick at 24 and took Casey Concepcion, the wide receiver from Texas A&M, looking for some weapons for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And then they doubled down on that at round 2, pick 39. Denzel Boston, wide receiver from Washington.
Which you couldn't get 2 more different wide receivers in one draft class either.
And that's okay, because you're
absolutely.
picking, you've got, a slot type guy. And Concepcion is explosive. And Denzel Boston, I mean, there's certainly a skill set there you like.
I was going to say Cedric Tillman might be in trouble with the Denzel Boston.
Could be. That's the same
types.
kind of guy, yeah.
For sure.
Round 2, pick 58, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the big, long safety Toledo Rocket, is now a Cleveland Brown. Then in round 3, pick 86, Austin Barber, the tackle from Florida. Parker Brailsford in round 5, the center guard from Alabama. Justin Jefferson, the linebacker from Alabama. Joe Royer, from the tight end from Cincinnati. Don't sleep on that one. And then to your point, round 6, pick 182, the speedy, athletic Talon Green, quarterback Arkansas, to make quarterback number 73 that they have on the roster.
Feels like it.
Good gracious.
Absolutely feels like it. And Taylor Green's been playing so long, he played against Todd Monken when Todd Monken was probably still at Georgia. No, not quite, because he was at Boise State, but still. Joke still landed. Pittsburgh Steelers, real quick.
We're going to cruise through that. The biggest thing was the quarterback in this, because they drafted Drew Aller in round 3.
Yep.
And they had Will Howard there last year. Aaron Rodgers finally comes to the altar. Doesn't stand him up. So there's that. I'll tell you one that is sneaky good signing is Rico Dowdle at running back.
They needed that one.
I like that for them. Michael Pittman was the big splash signing, the former receiver for the Colts. Jack Driscoll signed a 1-year deal at tackle. Ryan McCollum re-signed for a year at center. Cam Hayward got a new deal.
He did.
Sebastian Joseph Day goes north to Pittsburgh. So anyway, they address some things there. Jaquan Brisker signs a 1-year deal at safety. So does Darnell Savage. Chris Boswell is a huge contract at kicker.
Yeah.
They lost Skylar Thompson. They lost Kenneth Gainwell at running back. That's one of the big things. Calvin Austin III. They also lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jonnu Smith, Donald Parham. So they made some moves there. But you look at their draft class in this, Maxie Anachor, tackle,
Project,
Arizona.
I'm not sure if he's going to be day one, but Broderick Jones got
because
an
he's
issue with
still
his neck.
learning the game. He's very raw. We talked about he's the guy, he never played a snap in high school. And so he's only like his 5th year of football, period.
Yeah.
Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver, Alabama. That's your Hines Ward type pick for them.
It is, most definitely.
Just reliable, delivers the goods kind of thing.
This is
Dalen Everett, the corner from Georgia. Jennings Dunker, the red flow, waterfall mullet, interior offensive lineman from Iowa. They took his teammate Caden Weegan, the wide receiver from Iowa. I'll tell you another one. Robert Spears Jennings, the safety from Oklahoma, sneaky good pick at 224.
Yeah.
And at 230, Eli Heidenreich, the running back from Navy.
Classic Steeler.
Those late
Classic.
Well, those last picks now,
All of them.
that's that kind of stuff.
It is. Absolutely is. Good stuff as always. Rhett Bryan, you are you are an encyclopedia on draft classes and info on all these teams.
Well, let me say
you.
this. I appreciate that. And this is a great exercise. I'm just keeping all my notes for when we see these people.
Me too.
And I'm like, okay, what changed in this story? Who stepped forward? Who did not? Who's a starter? Who's not? All those things. It just helps. We're just doing game prep a few months early.
I've got a massive Google Doc I am copying and pasting all of this into as we speak.
Hey, now.
Thank you, Rhett. Good to see you.
Glad to see y'all.
Appreciate you. Coming up, there is a rule change that was voted on and approved at the SEC. A little bit under the radar compared to playoff talk, but significant for some teams, but not every team. We'll tell you about it coming up next. Wrapping up the show on Ramon and Will. Buck Rising show on deck. Coming up in just a few minutes. There is a rule change that was voted upon in the SEC yesterday in Destin, Ramon.
Let's hear it, man. What we got?
Cupcake games the weekend before rivalry weekend are no more. A new schedule policy that will begin in 2027 will end non-conference games the week before rivalry weekend.
Wow.
And so there will be a conference game now, the second to last week of the regular season. So Auburn and Alabama, get ready to learn FBS opponents the week before Thanksgiving, buddy. You're going to finally have to play somebody legit. Finally have to play a conference team the week before you play your rivals. Same goes for Florida before they play Florida State, which that was the case last year. They played Tennessee and got their butts kicked.
Absolutely.
In the swamp, which I like to remind myself of from time to time that happened. But Auburn and Alabama are the big culprits of this. Always scheduling FCS opponents. They love to see Samford come into Jordan-Hare Stadium the week before Thanksgiving.
Oh, my God.
They love seeing the Golden Eagles of Tennessee Tech, who were good last year,
Shout out.
coming to Bryant-Denny Stadium the week before Auburn comes down.
And again, so it's funny with this, though, too, because everything that the coaches are trying to fight back against, the league or the commissioner saying, no, you're going to get more of this hard play. If you are the best, you can't brag about it and also duck smoke, too. That's the one thing I will say when it comes down to what the SEC is capable of doing. Like, if you are the best, play the best at all times. These 9 games mean a lot to them. And I get it's hard managing your roster, and it's hard coaching kids, and it's hard trying to figure out now going from just a 90-man slate or as 110 that college have instead of the 125 to 150 that they have, having available bodies for practice in it. Intel has your starters in positions going against dudes that could start for them as well. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
Right. It's that simple with how I view this. Like, if you are as good as you are as a head coach, stop ducking, stop hiding, stop trying to hide behind the fact that you'll get a buyout too. That, to me, is what's really going to put them on notice, Will. If they start taking back or choking down on these bouts that these coaches get for being bad.
Yesterday, Mauricio Pochettino in the United States announced the 26-man roster for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The U.S. hosting for the first time since 1994, along with Mexico and Canada, had their whole roster leaked over the weekend. It became official yesterday. A couple surprises. Midfield is pretty light. Gio Reyna makes it. Tanner Tessman of Lyon does not. Fuller and Balogun has been terrific. Will be leading the line. Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Chris Richards coming off an injury for Crystal Palace at the end of the English Premier League season, which was won by Arsenal, the champions for the first time in 22 years. Again, Arsenal won the championship. We won the title. Okay, I'm going to be annoying about this for a long time. We'll talk some U.S. soccer. We'll talk some FIFA World Cup heading towards 16 days until things open up against Paraguay. But I'm worried about the U.S. midfield.
Might get bad.
I'm worried about the midfield. I'm worried about the back line. The U.S. has traditionally been so good defending and in goal. Totally the opposite this time. Major question marks in the back line, at goalkeeper, in the heart of midfield. The spine of the team just has so many question marks. And then up front, you're so talented in scoring goals. But we'll see. Vibes have not been great around the United States. World Cup roster became official, even though we already knew it. And I'm fascinated to see what happens for the United States in this World Cup.
You're saying, don't embarrass us. That's all you're asking.
That's exactly what I'm asking, actually. Exactly what I'm asking. Thank you to Mark Mariani, Brad Hopkins, and Rhett Bryan for joining us this morning. We are back at it bright and early tomorrow at 6. We'll talk to you then.
Friday Junior. But remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.